Podcast is intended for mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed are those of the panelists and do not reflect in any way those of the podcast partners, sponsors, or affiliates. Enjoy.
Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and you're listening to the Voice of the People. Let's get ready for Boxing Voice.
Every day I'm hustling, 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 hustling. Every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling.
No matter what nobody say, man, spirit, can't nobody fuck with me, man. You know, I can't be fucked with, you know.
Deontay Productions.
Whether you pay to see me win, or you pay to see me lose, you're gonna pay. Fuck it, your kids still gotta eat. I don't have to watch, you know, any footage of a fighter. I mean, because I'm Floyd Mayweather, everybody gotta watch me. I knew eventually I was gonna have to fight Oscar. I feel like he was straight up and down, no special effects.
BoxingVoice.com.
How can Canelo have the biggest deal? Your deal is for 300 million, and I made 350 million just in one fight. And you're fighting on the app.
BoxingVoice.com.
I'm a king, okay? I eat a feast. Every time I eat a feast. And when I get up from the table, I don't give a fuck who get the leftovers. At the end of the day, follow my green print.
Deontay Productions.
BoxingVoice.com.
Guess who's Bazak? Still smell the weed on my clothes. What's up? Yeah, I'm back. You already know, man. Comcast had to come today. I had a scheduled appointment because we had some issues last week. And I didn't expect my man to just start working on a pole and cut me right on out without knocking on the door. But that's what he did. So we're done with this morning's show. And since it's still the morning, we're right on back. And we're going to go ahead and pick up a whole nother topic. John Fury. Deontay Wilder cherry-picked Tyson Fury twice. Third time may cost him his career. So we're discussing whether or not we believe John Fury, or is he just taking a shot at Deontay Wilder? Did Deontay Wilder cherry-pick Tyson Fury two times? That's an interesting conversation there, because I think there are going to be quite a few people that believe he did cherry pick Tyson Fury. The thing is, I don't agree with the cherry pick phrase in the traditional sense. It's like, how do you cherry pick a lineal, undefeated current champion? How do you cherry pick a former unified champion? How do you cherry pick someone who's got very close to a 70% knockout ratio? How do you cherry pick someone who has wins over established fighters like Christian Hammer and Derek Chisora and, Vladimir Klitschko? Like, how do you cherry pick someone in the top five? I don't even, is John Fury selling the fight? Is he helping build the fight, or is this a cherry pick, or was the last two, right? Because the actual quote is, he cherry-picked them twice. So do we believe the first and the second, when Wilder already noticed, okay, this wasn't as easy as I expected, but I still want to do it again. I still want to right the wrong. I mean, can we even use the phrase cherry-picking when it comes to Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, especially being as though that, many consider them either 1, 2, or 3 in the division? So, little interesting. John Fury making headlines all the way from across the pond. Obviously, he would love to be in America with his son when this fight takes place, but he has been held back from entering the country due to some, legal issues that he had very long ago. That being said, we are talking John Fury believing that Deontay Wilder cherry-picked Tyson Fury not once, but 2 times. First and second fight. This time he's saying, hey, this is going to cost him his career.
How do you cherry-pick? I mean, there's only one way this is true. That his father believes that his son is a cherry.
I mean,
How-
so you're saying unless the fighter is a cherry, you can't cherry pick.
Yeah, I mean, he his pops must see something
But-
in.
But
Tyson
cherry
Fury, right?
picking, I don't think cherry picking means the fighter is a cherry or an easy win. I think it's the situation. If you cherry pick, you're putting yourself in a situation that you're favored to win. Am I right? Or is a cherry just a cherry? Is it always the opposition, or is it the situation? Meaning you're getting Fury off a 3-year layoff. You're getting Fury off of not being or looking 100%. You're getting Fury off of 2 tune-ups that aren't on the level of a Deontay Wilder. Is that still a cherry, or is Fury, who, you know, physically is a gifted fighter, could he never be a cherry? That's what I mean. Do circumstances make you a cherry because you were away from the ring, because you were overweight, because you were binging on whatever extracurricular activity or narcotic or alcohol that, you know, helped you through your day? I mean, does that make it a cherry, or is it not?
I think that what you said first is what he means. You know, the circumstances you just said, that is exactly what he means. Because I don't believe, right, that he feels like his son is a cherry. Cherry picking, I guess that's a different definition instead of a cherry. But if you're cherry picking, I guess you're taking advantage of the circumstances, like you mentioned. But I mean, that's not Deontay Wilder's fault. It's not like he chose for Tyson Fury to do what he's doing and look the way he's looking. So
But that's what I'm saying. It ain't his fault, but he's the one chose Tyson Fury coming off of whatever situation. So I see what John Fury is saying. Like, you thought this was a cherry 2 times, and you realize it's not. The third one's going to cost you your career. That's how he's phrasing it.
I think John Fury's a little worried. I think that he knows that Deontay Wilder's in his best preparation yet, and somehow he's trying to maybe soften up what he might believe or might cross his mind might happen. You know, his son might be in a very dangerous fight, and not that he wasn't the last 2, but to me, the way that Wilder's been looking is just sort of like a different dude. You know, he's a different guy. Different animal.
So you think Tyson may be in a difficult fight, and you don't think the person that, you know, a large percent of the world believes won both fights is going to be in his element?
Not when he's out there looking the way he's looking. I know that he was trying to put on some weight, you know, in order to muscle through Wilder, but he's looking a little soft here and there, and then like it's hard to sometimes decipher this stuff because he'll put out pictures looking a certain way, and then he'll put out another picture with sparring partners looking another way. I think it's all mind games with the Fury camp.
I don't know. Heavy rumors that Jared Anderson landed some heavy leather, causing this cancellation.
I mean, heavy leather. Where's the tape?
I mean, what we do have is Fury's face looking scarred up. Now, yeah, you know, even Mayweather had a black eye, and Fury's fair-skinned. He's white. He should bruise and scratch easily. But when you're bruised and you're scarred, and the rumor is you might have been knocked out, it just doesn't look well. It's too much of a coincidence.
You know, now that you mentioned that, oh man, Jared Anderson is the caliber fighter that can cause some damage, you know, in sparring.
And just remember that Top Rank themselves came out and did a Instagram post saying, "Oh, these rounds between Fury and Anderson, these are pay-per-view worthy." I mean, you know, that was one day. Maybe the next day just so happened that those pay-per-view worthy rounds really lived up to it, and someone was knocked out. I don't know. That's what the word is. The word on the street.
So what you think that he just got injured, and that's the reason why the fight's really being pushed back? There was an injury, an undisclosed.
That's
injury.
the rumor. That's the rumor because according to Frank Warren, they had already sold $14 million worth of tickets. First one was 17 million. So if they had already sold 14 million, that doesn't indicate to me that they're doing bad on pay-per-view, on ticket sales, right?
That's a good indicator. If they were already in trajectory to a certain number, I mean that.
Yeah, I mean, if you sold 14 million of the first 17, because last fight sold like 17.9, you're telling me that, you were 30 days out and you already had $14 million worth of ticket sales, according to Frank Warren? Well, damn, that was doing well. Now, that's if we choose to believe Frank Warren, who obviously is a part of, this promotion. So it's like, can we truly believe him? I don't know. I really don't.
Maestro, what's going on, brother?
I'm good, fam. How are you guys doing?
We're
on
good.
Boxing Voice. Good to be back.
Yes, sir, man. Freaking had to get a whole new modem here. But they did give me like 10 megabytes per second more on the upload. I crept into the 41 megabyte per second on upload. And that's really all I care about. My family cares about downloading. You know what I mean? My son hit me right up like, yo, the Wi-Fi's down? I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah.
But Maestro, man, tell me, what do you think about John Fury's quote where he says, Deontay Wilder cherry-picked Tyson Fury twice. Third time may cost him his career.
I definitely agree with the first part of that statement. He was a cherry pick. They
2 times?
The first time. Like, they went after and I'm using air quotes here in case this goes out later, Euro bum heavyweight that had ballooned up to 450 pounds, was on a coke binge and an alcohol bender, and was suicidal and was out there on social media, barely able to run, when he was trying to get back into shape. And that's when Deontay actually challenged him, if you guys remember this, right? Later on, that was presented as, I was trying to motivate him. It probably did motivate him. But the fact is, John Fury was afraid for Tyson going into that first fight, and in fact had disassociated himself from the Tyson Fury camp because he felt that they were just cashing out his son, right? Now, Ben Davidson believed in Fury. Fury obviously believed in Fury. Freddie Roach and Ricky Haddon and all the other people that were in his team believed in Fury, and he pulled off what many consider to be a big upset and beat Deontay Wilder the first fight only to get a draw, right? Now, at that point, it was a cherry pick. Fighting him a second time was no cherry pick. And it remains to be seen whether or not that fight has ruined Deontay Wilder's career. I mean, it got him to definitely say some crazy shit, about gloves, about Mark Breland being disloyal, and then Mark Breland spiking water, you know what I mean? And then, all of this stuff about the... something about the complexion for the deflection, or I don't remember what the exact thing was, but it was a whole lot of stuff that I wasn't buying, not just as a boxing fan, but as a proud brother and black man. And I just wasn't buying it, especially the stuff against Mark Breland. Well, actually, all of it, to be fair. So that's kind of took things into the cuckoo territory, right? And is that a symptom of his career being over? Well, we don't know. That's speculation, and we got to see how he does in the third fight, if and when it happens on October the 3rd. The 9th, right?
If and when. Mr. Negative reveals himself yet again. Nah, if we're going to say if and when, it should be Teofimo and Cambrosos. That's the one that doesn't look like it's going to happen.
You're right about that. I just did a live about that when we went off.
Oh, Wilder Fury... let them know where to check it out, champ.
Yeah, Maestro A Boxing. I'll plug the link towards the end of the show because I want people to go after watching the full version of this.
Cool. And I want to screen share this yet again for like the third time here on theboxingvoice.com. June 18th, Top Rank posted hard sparring between heavyweight king and the #1 heavyweight prospect in the world. Yeah. We'd pay to see some of that fire. So they are indicating that these were pay-per-view worthy rounds. They are indicating that it was hard rounds. So now when the rumor comes out that Fury was knocked out, why don't we believe it? They said they would pay to see it. They said we would pay to see it. They said it was hard. They called it hard, not me. I'm just saying.
You're right. Shout out to G Funky Boxing. People should check him out too. That's my comrade over here on YouTube, along with Ness and others.
I keep telling G Funky he need to send me the info so we could get him on. He's the only one that hasn't been on. I sent the message to you too to get me Lenny's info. I would love to get him on as well.
Whatever information you need, cause I'll try to get my brother Kenny from the Heights on as well. He loves to talk boxing. But back to G Funky Boxing, he has a show called HCP Uncensored, Tuesday 9 p.m. Eastern on G Funky Boxing, and he had on a guy named Fraser, who's a noted boxing insider and is close to the Tyson Fury camp and things that go on at Top Rank, and he said that.
Gotta cut you. We got Keith Eidick of Boxing Scene on the line. Keith, how are you? Sorry to keep you holding there. I had no clue, even though the producer was trying to notify me.
Oh, no problem, Ness. How you guys doing?
Good, man. So I happened to hear your interview with Lance Pugmire and your feelings on Caleb Plant and Canelo Alvarez. So I don't really want you to go and reiterate everything, but do you still feel the same way? Are you any more confident that this will happen between Canelo and Plant?
Just based on some of the things I heard over the weekend, I kind of feel like they will make a deal here because it is the fight that Canelo wants, and he's going to have to give a little bit from his side to make it happen. And, I think if he really wants to fully unify these titles, which he obviously does, or he wouldn't have gone through with everything that's happened over the past, 8 months or so. I think he's going to give what he has to give to make the fight happen. I don't blame Caleb Plant at all for trying to squeeze as much money out of the biggest fight of his career that he can. So ultimately it's going to come down to Canelo probably taking a little less money than he wants to, but he's the one who put himself in this bargaining position in the sense that he said it's the only fight that he wants next. When you say that publicly, you're shifting leverage to the other side, and Caleb Plant and his people are just trying to take advantage of that situation, and you can't blame them for that from a business standpoint.
Let me ask you, with your years in this sport, do you think if Canelo decided to play hardball and said, okay, I'm going to just go and fight Bivol, I don't have to vacate any of these titles, or is there a mandatory that he can call and just give Plant more time to think, right? Because if Canelo announces a fight, what is Plant going to do?
Right. That's why I don't think it'll get to that point, guys, primarily because I don't think Canelo's going to want to have to go through these types of negotiations again. Bivol-Canelo is a good fight. I think Bivol would come down to 168. He has repeatedly said that he would do that. And it wouldn't cost Canelo any of his titles, as you mentioned, Ness. So it's a good fight, and I think people would want to see it. But I think from Canelo's standpoint, he wants to do this. He wants to become the fully unified super middleweight champion. And why push that down the line another 3 or 4 months when you're just going to be in the same position again? It's not like Caleb Plant and his people won't play hardball again. I think he might fight again in between. In some short, they can basically pick their opponent because Caleb Plant does not have a mandatory due. He satisfied his mandatory with his last fight against Caleb Truax. So he can kind of fight who he wants. And if we've learned anything from Caleb Plant's history here over the past few years, is if you give them the opportunity to make an optional defense, they're not going to take a tough fight. So they'll take a stay busy type of fight, and then he'll be in this position again. But ultimately, I just don't think Canelo Alvarez is going to want to do that.
Keith, now I spoke to Caleb at, I think it was Logan Paul. No, I don't know. Maybe it was Logan Paul. He was with Jordan, and he said 10 million was fair. Has he gone up from the 10? Because Billy got 8, and that's how I led my interview with him. Like, look, Billy got 8. People seem to think that 10 is fair because you're American and been doing great news on Fox. Eddie thought the 10 was okay. He thought that was fair because Caleb's American and been on Fox, and they gave 8 to Billy. Where did it become a negotiation war? Because you didn't give an exact number on your interview with Lance, but you did say that they're playing hardball, so they want more than 10 million.
I don't know the exact number. I mean, I'm not privy to the exact number that they're looking for. But in my interview with Chris Mannix, we were talking about, they're just trying to squeeze as much out of it as they can. But I was told over the weekend, after I did Chris's podcast last week, that this has now become more about what Canelo's willing to give up as opposed to what Caleb Plant wants. And fair is a relative term, obviously. And like I mentioned earlier, Ness, I think Canelo put himself, for an experienced fighter who's been through these types of negotiations many times before, he kind of put himself in a bad position by publicly stating that this is the only fight that he wants. Look, Caleb Plant has what Canelo Alvarez wants, and ultimately he's going to have to give that. Now, if it was some unreasonable number, let's just say it was 11 million or 12 million, because other opponents have made that to fight Canelo Alvarez. If that was what he was looking for, well, maybe it would become unreasonable at a certain standpoint because, this is going to be a pay-per-view fight in the United States, and, maybe they just can't pay him that much money because DAZN clearly overpaid overpaid for Daniel Jacobs, they overpaid for Sergey Kovalev, and that can't continue because those were just bad business moves, frankly, that they didn't receive a real good return on their investment in those fights, and that just can't continue happening.
Keith, where do you think this fight happens? Because if Caleb wants more money, does he want more money to go to DAZN, or is he being offered more money to stay on Fox and bring Canelo over?
I think the fight will be on Fox Sports pay-per-view. And remember, guys, even when Canelo's fights have been streamed by DAZN in the last couple of fights, they have been made available on Fox, on pay-per-view in general in the United States because they wanted to. There are certain people who just won't subscribe to DAZN and won't use apps. Primarily older people, I suppose. But there are people who are willing to pay somewhere between $60 and $70 as opposed to subscribing to DAZN. So those fights are on pay-per-view as well. So. The fight is going to be on pay-per-view in the U.S. It's a one-fight deal, as I've been led to believe. PBC is obviously trying to sign Canelo Alvarez to a multi-fight agreement, but he's been reluctant to do that so far. So that's where they're at, like a one-fight deal with Fox Sports pay-per-view. And, let's hope it gets there because it's the fight that people want to, I think people would be interested in the Bivol fight, as I said, Ness, but I think this is the fight people want to see in the sense that they want to see Canelo Alvarez attempt to become the fully unified champion at 168, and he would become, because Charlo Castaño resulted in a draw, he could become just the sixth fully unified champion of the full belt era. So it's an interesting fight in that respect.
Absolutely, man. I hope we can get it. Maestro, do you have anything for Keith?
No, I mean, the only question I have for Keith, and thank you for joining us, Keith, is what would your preference be right now as a secondary option for Canelo should he not get the Plant fight?
Well, you're welcome, guys, for me coming on. But I would look, if we're ever going to see the Canelo Triple G third fight, that's what I would prefer to see in September. Supposedly, Triple G would be on board with that. Of course, we're running out of time here for guys to get in full training camps. I don't know how hard Triple G has been training at this point, but he supposedly is willing to fight him on September 18th if that winds up being the case. I think people, there's some waning interest in that fight, of course, because Triple G is 39 years old, and people think he's sort of a faded version of what he once was, and that Canelo would beat him easier in their third fight than he did in their second fight. That, of course, would remain to be seen, but that would probably, from an event standpoint, that's what I would prefer to see in September. More than anything, maybe just to kind of, for lack of better words, get that out of the way because that has been lingering for so long. But the Bivol fight is a very good fight, so if that were, plan C and that wound up happening, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Is Beterbiev off the table? Sorry, Ness. Is Beterbiev off the table? Because I did hear Eddie Hearn drop that name and say that Canelo was interested in that fight.
Eddie Hearn says a lot of things, I guess, guys, that wind up not being true. But I'll say this, that Beterbiev does not have a dance partner for his next fight. He's not going to fight Joe Smith next because those negotiations fell apart with Top Rank. he doesn't have a mandatory due. He might have them with the WBC, and that might wind up being the fight that he takes eventually. But I think Beterbiev is available. I just don't know. Is Canelo going to move back up to 75 to fight I'm not saying he's afraid to fight Beterbiev, but he is a huge puncher. He's an older guy, and he has some defensive flaws and everything, but he's a huge puncher, so I'm not sure that he would take that risk just yet, while there are other fights available for him that that he perceives anyway as less dangerous and for which he could make, the same amount of money, basically.
Keith, do you believe any of the ticket sale conspiracies for Wilder Fury and the postponement? Obviously, with Fury testing positive and then showing up at exotic car rental places and taking pictures and being in, shown without any face mask, and then Bob saying only one COVID test. Where are you with all this? Any belief in the conspiracy this was pushed back to generate more interest?
The only reason I'd say no, guys, is because how much more interest is there going to be in another month and a half? If that were the case, how much more interest would there be in another month and a half than there was 2 weeks ago? And then, of course, you would have to get everyone on board with this, and everyone kind of spouting the same company line and not saying that something underhanded happened here. And how are you going to get all those people to go along with that? Particularly, how would you get Deontay Wilder to go along with that? Now, maybe you could argue, oh, well, they just didn't tell him, and that's really what happened behind the scenes. Look, I mean, people have a lot of conspiracy theories about a lot of things. I don't really think that that's the case, because they've only pushed the fight back 2.5 months. It's not like they're saying, okay, let's revisit it in a half a year or something like that. I mean, they really...
You're saying...
I just think that... I can't hear what you're saying. What?
No, that must have been some interference. Go ahead. You're good.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I thought someone was talking. Sorry about that.
No, it was just some interference on my coach. Did you?
No, that's my fault. Sorry about that.
Yeah, go ahead, Keith. Never mind it.
No, that was pretty much the end. Yeah, I don't think that that's the reason, to be honest with you. But I think they're going to lose a fair amount of money on this fight whenever it happens, but they're contractually obligated to do it. So I don't think pushing it back 2.5 months is going to make much of a difference.
What about the rumor from Team Wilder indicating that the real reason this was pushed back was because Jared Anderson knocked out Tyson Fury in sparring?
Yeah, I've heard those same rumors, guys. I don't know if there's any validity to it or not, but I have heard the same things. I mean, your guess is as good as mine, basically.
But you've heard the same thing, so that's interesting.
I have, yeah, but we hear a lot of things that are not true as we go along here. But could happen. I mean, could have happened.
So John Fury seems to believe on a Boxing Scene article, it's not yours, it says Boxing Staff, but he seems to believe that Wilder cherry-picked twice, and this third one will cost him his career. I guess the first part is, do you believe that can be considered as a cherry pick, even though, the average boxing, or not the average, but the hardcore boxing fan knows what Tyson Fury is?
What do you mean by cherry picked?
Well, I don't mean anything. John Fury seems to believe Wilder cherry picked Tyson twice, but this third time will cost him his career. But I mean, if you want me to read into it, I'm assuming he's saying, Wilder picked my son when my son was out of weight, coming off of a 3-year layoff, fighting 2 nobodies, and he thought he was going to get an easy win, and it didn't work. Both times it didn't work, and this time, we're going to end them.
Yeah, I don't know. The word cherry picked is kind of an unusual. I kind of see what he's saying, but I don't know how you pick a lineal heavyweight champion of the world. I guess maybe because he felt like he wasn't in shape for the first fight. He's coming off all these personal problems and all that kind of stuff. Maybe the first time I could see that, not the second time. I mean, Tyson Fury picked 2 laughable opponents in between. The Wilder. Well, not. Otto Wallin was not laughable because obviously he gave him a tough fight, but Tom Schwarz was a laughable opponent. So I don't know if he cherry picked him the second time, but I don't know. Again, John Fury says a lot of wacky things, right? So I wouldn't put too much stock into it.
Since you used the term wacky things. Do you think Leonard Ellerbe was being wacky when he said that Tank could fight in October in a, and I quote, big pay-per-view, unquote, at 147?
I don't see him fighting at 147 pounds. I mean, Tank is a very small guy. You guys, Ness, you're a big dude, right? I mean, what does Gervonta Davis come up to your belly button or whatever? I mean, he's a small dude, so I don't see him. And I'm not tall, and I'm taller than Gervonta Davis, so I don't see him fighting at 147 anytime soon. I thought 140 was a bold move because whatever people think of Mario Barrios, he's a big guy. I mean, I don't know. They didn't reveal what his weight was on fight night, but he was obviously 5 inches taller than Tank. That's a pretty big risk to take when you're, he's probably a natural 130 pounder. He's fought at lightweight, of course, but I thought that was pretty risky. I don't see him fighting at welterweight. And who would he fight? I mean, I don't see any reasonable opponents for him at welterweight.
I got a name for you, but I need you to do me a favor and just text Ellerbe. I know you're in good with him. Just text him and say, hey, is this realistic? So Andre Berto magically appeared at number 10 on the WBA at 147, and he's been out of the ring 4 years, and he's only 5'8". If you're going to pick a welterweight to bring to Atlanta, Andre Berto is that. He knows more celebrities than the rest of these other welterweights, not named Floyd. He's fits the bill to come to Black Hollywood in Atlanta. He's a welterweight that all of a sudden, even though he's 4 years inactive, he's on the WBA rankings. I think they set it up, but I need you to confirm. That's a great story, by the way.
I completely see what you're saying, but I think the real reason that Andre Berto has magically appeared in the WBA rankings is because he's going to fight Yordenis Ugas. That's probably what's going to happen.
So you think that's more probable? I know. There's been rumors of Keith and Ugas and Sean and Jamal James. You don't believe those possible rumors?
Both possible, of course, but what I've primarily heard is that Berto is going to fight Ugas. That's what I've been hearing. So and of course that would explain how he magically appeared in the rankings, which is absurd because he hasn't fought in so long. But the WBA does a lot of absurd things, particularly things that PBC asks them to do. So, I'm pretty sure that that's the way it's going to go. And I don't know what Tank is going to do in his next fight. I don't think he's going to fight at 140, and I certainly don't think he's going to fight at 147. But are they going to be able to make this Ryan Garcia fight? Supposedly there was interest from Ryan Garcia's side after he beat Luke Campbell. They had some preliminary discussions. And then once the Pacquiao thing popped up, which was never realistic, that was what Garcia and his team focused on, and they kind of went away from talking to Leonard Ellerbe and anyone who was involved in that. But I think that is a big fight. I think that Ryan Garcia would take that fight. I also think he would lose, but it would be a big event. And for Tank Davis's career, I think he needs that type of high-profile fight. Now, I would prefer to see him fight Teofimo Lopez, but that is not going to happen next. But so I think if you can make Tank and Ryan Garcia at 135 next, I think that would be the way that they'd go. Certainly, to me, makes more sense than having him move up to 147 pounds, which to me is a weight that he doesn't belong fighting at.
But if they announced, I'm sorry, because I want to get your true feelings. If they announced Berto Tank on pay-per-view back in Atlanta, what would be your headline?
I would say Ness predicted this, I guess, right?
No. I would love that headline to be on Boxing Scene, let me tell you. It would do wonders. But no, honestly, what would be your thoughts? Because he is out of the ring 4 years, but he is a welterweight that was always a puncher. They say the last thing to go is power, and he fits the bill for Atlanta. Do you think that's too, he's just been out the ring too much, and I'm giving them a lob ball here? What is that called in softball? I don't know.
Yeah, I think they would take a ton of criticism, even though he'd be moving up yet another weight class. I think they would take a ton of criticism because people perceive Berto as a shot fighter. I think he's 38 or something. He's pretty old at this point. He hasn't fought in such a long time. How do you justify, especially if they tried to sanction it for some sort of title? They've already taken a lot of criticism, and deservedly so, for him fighting for secondary titles, which he did against Mario Barrios and Yuriorkis Gamboa. You're going to call him a 4-division champion now for fighting Andre Berto. I think it would be a public relations disaster for them to do that, and hopefully they're not going to do that. They're going to go in a different direction. But I don't see how even they could perceive that as a smart thing to do.
Wow, you hate it then. I actually like it. I actually like it. I think Berto has some legitimate power. The last thing to go on a fighter is power. Tank's never been in with a real puncher. So, yeah, maybe he beats Berto up because he's been out the ring 4 years, but we see him get dropped at the very least. I mean, Berto has legitimate power. The fact that he's fought Mayweather, they can sell it like the protege moving up to, the mentor's weight class to take on a common opponent. I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching. I don't know. You know what it is? I went to the Atlanta fight, and Lord, I believe he's a star. I mean, the way he brought those people out, he's a star in my opinion. And I think if he can sell out Atlanta with Barrios, shit, those tickets will double with Roberto, I think. But I'm wrong. Maestro, you got anything for Keith?
Well,
Keith.
Sorry, Ness, you're not.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, Ness, you're not wrong at all about saying that he's a star. There are no two ways about that. He is a star. I mean, he might be the biggest box office draw among American fighters. I mean, Canelo obviously is a bigger draw, but among Americans, there's not a bigger draw than Gervonta Davis. He's done it in multiple cities. He did it in his hometown of Baltimore. He's done it twice in Atlanta. He drew the biggest crowd in the history of what used to be known as StubHub Center. He's a star. I mean, but at a certain point, you're really. Ellerby made a good point after he beat Barrios. Most of the people there had never heard of Mario Barrios before that fight was made, and they didn't really care who Tank was fighting. They want to go to a Tank fight because that's the event that they're interested in, and they want to see Tank knock the crap out of someone, which is what they eventually saw on June 26th. So to some degree, you're right. It might not matter as much with Tank who he fights as it does with other fighters.
Yeah, Keith, so you brought up the PBC, their relationship with the WBA kind of being tight. I've always kind of felt that as an observer. I've also felt that the WBO has been like closer to Top Rank and Frank Warren Queensberry out in the UK, which is why I was really baffled by the decision not to reinstate Manny Pacquiao as champion after the fact that they put him in as champion in recess, which I also found baffling considering how long Keith Thurman was out of the ring and he kept his title, and the fact that obviously they put him in recess when pretty much we're in the middle of a pandemic with COVID-19. So, I mean, what were your thoughts on Pacquiao not being reinstated, and like what do you think is the explanation for that?
I'm baffled by it too, because primarily these sanctioning organizations do whatever is going to line their pockets more. And what would line their pockets more than Manny Pacquiao fighting Errol Spence in a unification fight? They're certainly not going to make nearly as much money when your Dennis Ugas fights. So I was surprised by it too. And good luck getting a straight answer from the WBA about anything, but it was very surprising because, as you said, the WBA tends to do whatever PBC asks them to do, just like the WBO tends to do with Top Rank. So it was very surprising. But the thing is, guys, I know you guys share this opinion as hardcore boxing guys. We don't care which titles are at stake. I mean, and for the most part, I don't think fans care that much, but the fighters do. And that's the thing that we're all, the fighters care about the belts. You see the way, even though it costs them way too much money for sanctioning fees, these belts mean something to almost every fighter. I mean, you see the way that they carry the belts around with pride, and they do mean so. They're not trinkets to these guys. So I guess but the point is Manny Pacquiao, Errol Spence, any lesser of a fight because the WBA super title is not at stake? Who cares? It's a great fight. It's the most intriguing fight, maybe other than Fury Wilder on the boxing calendar now, and that's probably arguable. And I always say this, and I know you guys are on board with it, but who cares which titles are at stake? If Spence and Pacquiao fought for 0 titles, is it a lesser fight? I mean, you wouldn't be able to call it a welterweight title fight, but it's certainly not a lesser event.
No, I agree with you on that one for sure. It's just that we always want one face, one name, one champion in a division, right? And if we could get closer to an undisputed at 147, that would be something that would lead to some clarity for boxing fans. But yeah, I agree with you 100%.
I agree with the both of you guys. I think that we really don't care, but the fact that politics showed its ugly face in this situation, which would have aligned us to all just be pointing at Crawford had they just reinstated him or not stripped him, then it'd just be Crawford. But now we got Ugas still out there, kind of ruining Undisputed, so to speak. But I want to go back to my superstar, man, the dude that really moves the needle. And I want to ask, do you really believe that Jojo Diaz is realistic for Tank? As I guess it was Coppinger, I think they reported. I'm not sure. Maybe it was you first. Oh, I don't know. But allegedly, Jojo Diaz is being considered by Ellerby for Tank. Do you believe?
I could see it in the sense that Jojo Diaz is, probably more of he's closer to a featherweight than a lightweight, but he looked very good in this fight against Javier Fortuna. Deserves a big opportunity after kind of screwing up before his previous fight against Rakhimov when he didn't make weight. It's an interesting fight. I don't think they would draw as much criticism for that as they would if he were to fight Berto. It's not the lightweight that people want to see him. It's not the lightweight that people want to see him fight most, but it's a real fight. I mean, Jojo Diaz his loss to Gary Russell. The first half of that fight was competitive, and Gary Russell is the longest reigning champion in boxing, is an elite level fighter, so there's no shame in losing to him. He's beaten Tevin Farmer, he's beaten Javier Fortuna, he's got some good wins on his record. So yeah, that's an interesting fight, and I think that would be something that they would be seriously looking at.
Keith, have you ever text Ellerby or talked to him like, why isn't the Gary Russell fight an option? Like, that just seems to be such a big fight in the DMV or Atlanta for Tank. Why do you think they don't do it? I mean, you got this guy basically out here. Gary looks like David Benavidez to Charlo, but it's him to Gervonta. I mean, the disrespect that he shows in interviews for Gervonta. When are they going to settle that beef? Do you ever see it happening? And have you spoken to, I guess, Mayweather Promotions ever about the possibility of that fight?
I have spoken to him about the possibility of the fight. I wouldn't say I ever got a satisfying answer or a straight answer as to why it won't happen. They just basically continue to say, we're going to do what we're going to do, and we're going to fight who we're going to fight. Never given a real answer as to, because clearly that's a huge fight in the Washington, D.C., Baltimore area. Exactly. I mean, they would sell out that, whatever the name of the arena, Royal Farms Arena, I think it's called, in Baltimore, or even the Verizon Center in Washington, D.C. I don't know if they would do it in D.C. because that would be perceived as like a home fight for Russell, even though Davis is the star. But the point is, that's a really, really intriguing fight. They would make, I think if they were to do it, which I don't think that they're going to, but if they were to do it, they would do it at lightweight to give Tank a little bit more of an advantage because, of course, Gary Russell's been a featherweight his whole career. But people would be really interested in that fight. I mean, Gary Russell he's not fought in a very long time again. It's been almost a year and a half since he fought Tug Nyambayar. And there's nothing on the schedule or on the horizon for Gary Russell. He's being very vocal about fighting Tank, which I understand. He's going to say the most outlandish things possible, the most offensive things possible to try to lure Tank into that fight. I'm not saying that they're scared to do it, but they do realize how skilled of a guy Gary Russell is, even though he's much smaller than Tank. And he's at the back end of his physical prime, but he's still in his prime. So if I had to guess, even though that's the fight maybe I would want to see, I don't know if I'd want to see it more than Lopez Davis, but it's certainly a fight in the top three that you would want to see, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Wow. So I think the biggest fight for Tank in Atlanta, obviously they can go to Vegas with this one. I don't think they would, because Haney is kind of from Vegas, just did very well in Vegas. I'm sure you know how well. I mean, it looked good from, being there with Linares. Looked very filled. People looked excited. Beautiful crowd came out. I seen tons of Lamborghinis. Do you think Haney Tank is the biggest fight to make in Atlanta, and do you ever see that fight happening? I thought we were a step closer because Haney showed vulnerability with Linares, who's so much older than Tank, landing that shot, causing Haney to be defensive for maybe the last 2 or 3 rounds. Do you think that enticed the Leonard Ellerbe's and Mayweather Promotions of the world? Is it time to make that fight?
Well, I'd love to see that fight also, but I do think from an event standpoint, Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis is a bigger event just because of Garcia's fan base, his crossover appeal. I mean, and Tank obviously is a huge star too. So I think those two together would make the bigger event. I don't think Haney is as big a star as Ryan Garcia. You obviously could argue that he's a better fighter, but in terms of him being a bigger draw and anything, he's not. I was at the Devin Haney-Linares fight. The crowd was fine, but I mean, they never gave us an official attendance, but it was probably somewhere between 4,000 and 5,000. It really wasn't that big of a crowd, and the arena holds about 12,000. So it was maybe somewhere close to. If it was 5, it's close to half full, basically. Which on Memorial Day weekend in Vegas, not a terrible crowd, I guess, but I'd love to see that fight too. I mean, in order, I would like to see Lopez, maybe Russell, then Garcia, then Haney. But any of those 4 fights, I think, would satisfy fans. People would want to see any of those fights.
And since we're talking Haney, obviously JoJo won the interim title, and instead of calling out Haney, he says, "I want Ryan." But then him and Haney get into a back and forth, and they verbally agree to November. Have you spoken to any bigwigs about the interest in really putting that down on a DAZN schedule?
Which fight is that, Ness?
Devin Haney versus Jojo Diaz, since he's the interim, and they got into a back and forth on Twitter, and they both agreed to fight in November.
Okay. Yeah, I don't. He is the interim champion, but that has not led so far, and that this is not Haney's fault because Haney wanted to fight Garcia. I think Haney's going to push to fight Garcia. Well, I don't think Garcia is going to fight him, but I think Haney's going to want, and I'm not saying that Jojo Diaz hasn't earned the opportunity by beating Fortuna. He did. But I think Haney is going to want a higher profile fight because the Diaz fight is a risky fight, but not nearly as high profile as the other fights. So if I'm him, I would want to be paid for what might be a more dangerous fight, but a bigger fight.
Mm-hmm.
But it is makeable from the DAZN standpoint, as you said.
Again, I'm just hoping that some of these, some of these conversations can fall in the ears of the right person. Maybe you do some text like to an Espinoza. Right now, Devin Haney is a free agent. It sounds like a 3-fight deal makes sense over there. You could do Javier Fortuna, Rolly, and Tank. Showtime. Sounds worth it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Even Gary Russell. You can take out Fortuna. Gary Russell wanted all the Devin Haney smoke when he was with DAZN, and Bill was trying to make that a lot, whether or not it was propaganda and hype to build up the Linares fight. It worked. Gamboa fight, it worked, and we still want it. I would love to see Haney, Gary Russell. I know most would think he would be outsized, but he beat JoJo, and look at what JoJo did to a 135-pounder.
No, that's a good point, Ness, and I think Haney. I just would like to see how careful they're going to be about his matchmaking at this point after what happened against Linares, because that was kind of a career-altering 10th round there, where he showed some vulnerability, and of course it's boxing. Everyone's going to get hurt at some point for the most part. Get knocked down or whatever. He didn't get knocked down, but that's boxing, so to speak. But I just wonder how that's going to impact their matchmaking strategy moving forward.
I mean, but wouldn't it make sense to try and make the Gary Russell fight, as he's a 126-pounder, going to have to move up to fight Haney?
Yeah, smaller guy, someone who you would perceive at least to be less dangerous than the punchers at lightweight. But like everything else, it's going to come down to money. I mean, is there enough money in a Gary Russell fight to satisfy Devin Haney to take what would still be a risk against a smaller guy?
Wow, you don't think there's money in a Gary Russell Haney? We could do that in the DMV
Not
without
nearly
a
as
doubt.
not
I think that it's a bigger
not
fight.
nearly as much as if he fought Ryan Garcia, or certainly if he fought Tank or Teofimo Lopez. I think there's more
Damn.
money in those fights.
Keith,
Clearly.
we got
I
to
agree.
dive into this a little more. Do you still have time? I don't want to keep you. I know you're not going to be rude.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm good for a few more. Yeah.
Okay, we got to dive into to this more. I need to know, why do you believe Ryan's a star? Like, didn't he only sell 6,000 tickets or 7,000? Like, hasn't he only been a main event once? Or am I missing something?
Well, remember when his fight, and I'm not, the biggest Ryan Garcia advocate or anything. I think that when he fights these top lightweights, he's going to lose. But they sold a decent amount of tickets in what was still kind of the heart of the pandemic. There were still a lot of restrictions on people in Dallas when he fought, right after New Year's Day in Dallas, which was really, the fight was in Dallas primarily because it was one of the only places that you could take a fight and have a crowd. The fight had no business being in Dallas because Ryan Garcia has no attachment to Dallas. He's fighting a British opponent. I mean, it made no sense for it to be there, other than that's where you could go with it. If Ryan Garcia would have fought Linares, which of course was the fight they were hoping to do last July before the pandemic happened, I think they would have drawn a sizable crowd in Southern California, because they drew a pretty decent crowd on Valentine's night at the Honda Center in Anaheim. They drew a crowd, but
Yep.
but I still think Tank is a bigger draw, a bigger star. I think he's proven that at the box office. So, and we don't see, the other thing to keep in mind, guys, is we don't know what the viewership numbers are on DAZN, because those numbers are not available to us, and DAZN does not release them. Nielsen doesn't track the numbers, so you have no idea how many. People tend to take shots at Showtime's ratings or whatever, but you don't even know, or we don't even know how many people are watching on DAZN. I mean, you might get an idea from the inside on occasion, but you don't know how many people are watching the fights. So less people are probably watching his fights than are watching the other guy's fights. So that's a factor also.
You do know, though, Keith, that he did do well on that Valentine's Day card at the, I forget what it's called, but the arena in Anaheim against the Nicaraguan Fonseca, right?
The Honda Center, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he did very well. I think it was almost 10,000, I think, which is a very good crowd. Especially among Americans. I mean, which Americans sell 9,000-10,000 tickets? It just doesn't happen that often.
So, Keith, do you think that interests Espinoza? Would that interest him? Like Haney, Russell, Rolando Romero, which then sets up a credible but still not so dangerous opponent for Tank, right? Or do you think Haney's dangerous? Damn. Sorry about that. Do you think that Haney is dangerous for a Tank and they won't do that?
No, I don't think that they won't do it. Of course, you would have to lock Haney into a long-term deal, as you mentioned earlier, Ness, maybe a 3-fight deal or something. And then, of course, you have the PBC complication. Now, there are fighters who are boxing on Showtime with regularity, primarily Duran Ennis, who are not affiliated with PBC. So I don't think it's imperative that Haney align himself with PBC if he were to come to Showtime in a multi-fight deal. But of course it would interest them. But as with everything else in life, it's going to come down to money, because he's not, he's been overpaid for his fights at DAZN. Now, DAZN was in a position where it was overpaying American fighters and others because they were trying to make an impact in American boxing. Now, to some degree they have, but they're not overpaying like they once were. So what is Devin Haney's market value as opposed to what he thinks his market value is? That, I think, is what it would come down to if he were to go to Showtime or to remain at DAZN, because he, assuming, has an inflated opinion of what his market value is, and understandably so to some extent, because he's been paid what he's been paid for the last few fights.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I pivot real quick to the heavyweights, Ness, and ask Keith about that? So, Keith, it's the glamour division. Obviously, right now, we don't have a U.S. title holder, with Fury and AJ being the heavyweight champs. But I'm, for one, am very intrigued by this Saturday's fight between Carlos Takam out of France and Joe the Juggernaut Joyce out of London. But we can't watch it on U.S. television. I was expecting it to be on ESPN Plus. It's not on ESPN Plus. One, are you interested in this fight? Two, how will you watch this fight? And 3, why isn't ESPN Plus showing this card? Because it is on BT Sport and is a Queensberry Promotions card.
Yeah, I think we're all surprised that ESPN did not pick up the fight because they have mostly picked up most of Frank Warren's fights. So it is surprising because Joyce is a puncher and he's a guy people want to see. And, of course, they put on a lot lesser fights on ESPN Plus that people don't want to see. So I'm kind of surprised that this will not be available to us. And, guys, I mean, there's no real legal way to watch the fight if you live in the U.S. I mean, so, you know, that doesn't mean people won't find a way to watch it. But it's not available to us in the U.S. So it's disappointing because I think, you know, Takam, he's going to bring the fight to him, but he's going to lose and he's probably going to get knocked out. But it's a real opponent for Joyce after, you know, the biggest win of his career against Daniel Dubois. I mean, it's not a gimme, but he's of course favored to win the fight, and I think he will win. But it's a fight I think we would all like to see, and I agree with you that it's disappointing that it's not available in the U.S.
Absolutely.
Well, Keith, I guess before we let you go, 2 things. Is Regis lying, or is his fight with Mikey being announced? Because he posted on his Twitter yesterday, Regis Prograis versus Mikey Garcia to be announced. And do you think we get the rematch with Jermell Charlo and Brian Castaño?
I'll take your second question first. I do not think that we get a rematch between Jermell Charlo and Brian Castaño as much as we all want to see it. I do think that the mandatory obligations for those 2 fighters are going to take them in different directions for the time being. And then, you know, maybe somewhere down the line they revisit it. But I don't see the rematch happening anytime soon. Charlo's IBF mandatory is way overdue. The WBC mandatory against Erickson Lubin is now due, although I don't think they'll make that fight because it's not. I don't think it's a marketable fight, and I don't see that anyone willing to pay the kind of money it would require for that fight to happen again. So I think he might make his IBF mandatory next, and then the WBO probably will order Castaño's his mandatory against Tim Tszyu. Castaño might have to go to Australia for that fight if it winds up going to purse bid or something, but I don't see that fight happening next, and maybe not ever. The rematch between those guys is really good.
Keith, you really think that Al won't pull favor and have the WBC mandatory call rather than go the IBF route to Melikuliev? Or whoever this guy is, Bakaram?
The thing is, it's either that or he's going to have to give up the title. Because at some point, you know, Main Events, which is his promoter, has taken undercard slots on Charlo's last 2 fights to allow the fights to happen. And that's fine because PBC is paying for the fights. But if Charlo wants to, remember, the IBF is the organization that sticks to its rules, unlike the other 3. So they're going to eventually order him to, and why wouldn't Charlo do it? He'll make from what I've seen in his last 2 fights, Charlo will destroy the IBF mandatory. And if it lasted 4 rounds, I'd be stunned because he's been hurt in each of his last 2 fights against guys who were not anything resembling Jermell Charlo. Having said that, I don't think the Lubin fight is a fight that can be made because there's no interest in it whatsoever. I think most people, despite Erickson Lubin's really good win against Jason Rosario and the fact that he's 6-0 since he has lost to Charlo, I don't think people perceive that as a tough fight for Charlo. I think they think Charlo will knock him out again because Lubin's chin he doesn't have a reliable chin, and that's putting it mildly, probably. So while it's commendable that he's taken these fights and maybe he'll get another title shot, I don't think it's going to be against Jermell Charlo. So I think the IBF mandatory would be the way that they go maybe next, unless he gives up the title. But like we were saying before, guys, the titles mean a lot to these fighters. So I don't think he's just going to willingly give up one of them and instead of taking this mandated fight.
Let's assume.
And I forgot what your other question was.
Oh yeah, the Mikey and Regis. But you know what? Let's put that on the back burner because let's assume you're right. He goes the IBF route. They don't vacate Lubin. You say no, there's no interest, so they need to give Lubin a fight. obviously Kevin Cunningham is pushing the Danny Garcia fight. Danny interviewed with me in Miami. He said he wanted to move up to 54. He said he needed one fight, and then if they offered him Jamel, he would absolutely take it because he's in this for legacy. Do you think that's possible? Is Danny too small? Does Lubin hit too hard? Would Al really put Lubin Danny, which then sets up Jamel for his biggest fight, because then he can get Danny as a mandatory?
I do think that Garcia, as he said, I think that Garcia is going to fight once at 54 to acclimate himself to the weight class. I don't think it's going to be against Erickson Lubin because that's not an easy fight. So, that seems to me like if his end game is to get to Charlo and try to become a 154-pound champion, I don't think he's going to walk through that fire necessarily to get there. And he probably won't have to because they'll say, hey, look, he's really a junior welterweight who's fought at welterweight and is moving up to 154. So let's give him a reasonable test at 154 before he tries to fight Jermell Charlo. And I'm not saying he would have earned a shot at Jermell Charlo by beating some, B-, C+ level 54-pounder, but I think that's what's going to happen. I don't see him fighting Erickson. I think Erickson Lubin would fight him, but I don't see Garcia taking that type of fight when you have the payday and the opportunity of Charlo dangling in the background.
Now, like you said, you've seen Lubin hurt in his last couple of fights. Harrison just fought a welterweight. Does none of this entice these fighters? Do you think they're thinking, or their handlers are thinking safety first, or is anyone looking at Perella not being Danny, never being a two-time, two-division, 3-division champion? I mean, if Perella could do that to Harrison, I mean, shouldn't Danny at least not be knocked out? And I don't know. I think he should be able to hang with Erickson Lubin, who's never been the world champion.
Yeah, again, I'll just say what I said before. I think it's too much of a risk for him in his 154-pound debut to do it. I don't see that because he can fight a lesser guy, and this has been a blueprint in PBC before. He can fight a lesser guy to get to the Charlo fight if again, that's what they want. And I have been led to believe that is what they want. They want Charlo to fight Danny Garcia. Like, I fully expect Charlo to fight Danny Garcia before he fights Castaño again, if ever.
Get the fuck out of here. Seriously? That's amazing. How long have you been expecting that? Was it before? I mean, oh, man, wow, that's crazy. Danny's lucky. And he's got to be confident.
Yeah, well, hey, look, and Danny has he's fought everyone. If this is the route he's going to go, move up to 154 and get a payday out of it, whether anyone thinks it's a fight that he can win or not, he's earned that to some extent, right? I mean, he's fought everybody, and he's lost 3 times, but all against top-level guys, and he's been there in welterweight title unification fights. So I think he's earned that to a certain degree.
Damn. I mean, I think Charlo's too active for Danny, but hey, Keith, man, I don't want to keep you any longer.
Oh, I don't think he'll, and that's to be clear, I don't think he'll win.
Yeah.
But I think the fight will eventually happen.
Yeah, and Charlo took some decent. I mean, I felt like, I know people think he got hurt, but the way that he reacted to those punches was to punch back, where Castano reacted like, okay, let me back up and get my thoughts together, or let me clinch. So I don't know that he could be hurt. Like, I know people considered that hurt. I didn't really. I'm looking at this dude. On one of those replays, he bit down on the mouthpiece after Castano hit him and then just fired a 1-2 down the pipe. That dude, I can't believe it.
He was hurt in the third rounds. He fell back into the ropes. It could have been called a knockdown, in my opinion.
You're saying when he squatted, right?
Yeah.
Bro, did you see how he sprung back up?
Had that happened, I've seen guys get knocked down and get right back up. That's a fighter's instinct there.
No, but see, he never touched the canvas. He looked more like Lubin in the Jorge Colta fight, where he dropped down and I don't know.
Having settled this all between me and Nesk, what could that have been called a knockdown? Yes or no? I'll concede depending on what you say.
Go ahead, Akeem. He wants you to be the tiebreaker.
That's a questionable one. It's obviously at the referee's discretion there. I don't know. It happened very quickly, and I did watch it several times on the replay. And since I've come home from San Antonio, I watched it again. He kind of I don't know if you could argue that the ropes held him up, and that's generally the rule. If the ropes hold up a fighter, if he otherwise would have gone down, I don't know that you could make that. You probably could make that argument, but I think it's debatable, and it happened so fast in the heat of the moment. I don't think the referee ever considered that. And I will say, what Ness said makes sense, and he was really he was firing back bombs 2 seconds later. So I don't know. When I wrote the story live at ringside, I didn't use the word hurt, and I did that intentionally. I think I used the word he was affected by the punch because his legs buckled, and he went into the ropes, of course. But I don't know that he was hurt. I would say that that's the most I've ever seen, that I can remember, that I've ever seen Jermell Charlo impacted by a punch because he like you said, he went into the ropes and legs buckled and all.
You're choosing all the right words, Keith. You have it shows that you're a writer. How long have you been
right here?
How long have you been covering the sport?
Since the end of 1996, basically.
Wow.
So
congratulations.
That just means I'm old. I'm old, I guess.
Nah. It means
middle school.
It means you're knowledgeable, man. Congratulations. and where could everyone find your work?
I appreciate the kind words, Ness. They can find me at boxingscene.com. We're constantly updating on the site every day, and my Twitter handle is just my last name. It's at IDEC, IDEC Boxing.
Keith, can you confirm or deny if that site does 27 million hits a day? Is that true? I heard a rumor.
No, 27 million seems like a lot, but
I know it does.
But we do. But it's the most trafficked boxing website on the internet, which is obviously
the world.
Good for all of us. We try to
Absolutely.
crank out the content, and it's a grind every day, obviously, but well worth it in many respects. And we appreciate you guys reading. We appreciate the kind words, man.
Any books? Have you written any books or have any books coming out? Anything you're working on other than your day-to-day articles?
No, I've tried to write books in the past. I was a newspaper writer for 23 years, and the one thing I'll say, I have an agent and everything, and I've tried to write one boxing book and a book on an NFL player, and it's just very difficult unless it's like some salacious thing or a superstar type of, fighter or football player or whatever, to get an advance for a book. And it's really so time consuming that I'd almost have to take a break from, some sort of sabbatical to really devote the amount of time to it that is really required. And I can't do, this is not the kind of job that you take a step back from for a few months to work on a book. So, as much as I would like to do it at this point right now, again, I found out the hard way that getting an advance for a book, especially at a time where less people are reading books, is very difficult.
Yeah, man, maybe a digital book. I think that, I don't know if I'm sure you know Adrian Clark. I mean, that book, Dark Horse, just his experiences being told, kind of like it's like backroom meetings. Like, I thought that book was phenomenal. I could imagine the stories that you must have with all these fighters that we don't know. Little things like him saying that he was trying to broker that Earl Cotto deal, all those little things that we didn't know. That, like, I don't know. Maybe you should think about it. I would buy it and support it and promote it right here. Think digital, too, because you're right. People aren't really buying hardcovers, even though I got a hardcover of Dark Horse and supported Adrian because it's a phenomenal book. But, yeah, man, I would buy it, bro. I would buy it. And if it's great, I would do a live read like I did his and express that to my audience to pick it up.
I appreciate the love, Ness. I want to check out Adrian's book, too, so I appreciate the tip on that as well. And, who knows, who knows what position we'll all be in a couple of years or whatever,
For sure. Well, Keith, man, thank you again. If you want to give out your social media, do so. And we really, really appreciate your time.
Thanks again, guys. Yeah, it's just at IDEC Boxing on Twitter, and obviously on the website we're updating it, multiple times every day, every hour, actually. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Keith. Really appreciate it.
There you have it, Keith
Idek
of Boxing Scene. Wow, 1996. My God, I was in the fucking 11th grade in 96. I don't even think I was thinking boxing. Was I thinking boxing? I mean, I definitely had put the gloves on. We had a little gym on Roseville Avenue. It was inside the church. You know what I'm saying? But I never got the spar in there, bro. Never got the spar. I was too young. I did do it in the street. Not like my man, the amateur right here. So how much you weigh?
Roosevelt Island in Queens, Ness?
No. Roosevelt Avenue in Newark, New Jersey.
I meant Roosevelt Avenue. My fault. But the one I know is in Queens. But yeah, okay.
No, Roseville Avenue in Newark, New Jersey.
Okay, got you.
Yeah. 1996. That's when that gym. I mean, it's still there, actually. I remember my son asked, let's go to the gym. I took him. That was it. He went one day. Un día, nada más. Anyway, we got some super chatties from the chat. Let's see what we got here. That was a fantastic interview. I wish my connections grow. I want to be able to text Espinoza and Leonard Ellerby. Let me tell you, I think that these type of texts that I'm setting up, like, it might draw interest in them. Like, why wouldn't you, if you're Espinoza, maestro, wouldn't you buy Devin Haney, Gary Russell?
100%.
Where would you put that at?
Where would I put it?
Yes.
Devin Haney, Gary Russell. I'm putting that shit in DC. I mean, they got that armory over there, right? Nice little fight.
So what if I said Devin Haney, Rolando Romero? Would you buy that if you're Espinoza?
I would buy that if I was Espinoza, sorry, and I would put that fight at the Oracle in Oakland.
Wow, you'll take Rolando. I guess you're right. Haney's got to be bigger than Romero. Plus, he's got the belt. Take him home. Okay, and then the big one, the 3-fight deal, cherry on top, Tank versus Haney. Would you buy that if you're Espinoza?
I would definitely buy that, and that fight would do big business in Brooklyn, here in New York. That fight would do big business in Vegas. That fight would do big business at the Garden. And obviously, you could put that in the DMV too, so that you got a lot of options with that fight.
Wow, you said Brooklyn. I didn't expect that one. You think Haney?
I saw him knock out Pedraza in Brooklyn, bro.
No, I know. But you think Haney, Tank, the best place would be Brooklyn?
I'm not saying it's the best place. I'm telling you, it would sell out in Brooklyn, though. I'm telling you that right now.
Sold out at what, 16,000? That's what Keith and Danny. Do you think 16, or you think somehow they make more seats for them? Because I think that's a 20.
It's a tight arena, bro. It's a tight arena, and I much rather watch fights at the Garden, because when you're at the Barclays, like, they got you sitting at like this weird angle. The person right next to you is really tight. It's like you're sitting on the subway. There's no room. The Garden is a little bit roomier. I would rather go to the Garden. Not to mention, I'm in the Bronx. Super easy for me to get to.
I ain't gonna front. You right. I remember going. It's funny that you was there, man. Crazy. We probably crossed each other. Lemieux, Gennady, I was there. And
I was there.
I like to work the bowls, so even all the way at the top, the monitor's right in your face. So it was pretty cool. But I got some super chats. Let me get to them. Looks like we got AI. He says, just curious. I thought John Fury said it was going to cost Wilder his life, right? I don't know about life. He said it may cost him his career. I mean, I went off the article. Maybe they changed it to be PC. I don't know. I'm going off articles here. You know what I'm saying? Send me a link. Yeah. Next super chat is from Roland. Roland, what up, man? You've been around for a minute. Roland says, John Fury doesn't have to think that his son is a cherry to say this. He can say this if he thinks that Wilder thought that his son was a cherry. Well, I think that's what we're saying, that he thinks Wilder thought he got a cherry twice. I don't think I think after the first fight, Wilder absolutely knew he was in a real fight. The crazy thing is that for some reason, maybe he didn't. Maybe he went into it saying, yo, I knocked him out in the 11th. It was a long count. I just got to touch him again.
Look, fighters know what it's like to be in the ring, and they know what they feel like. They have to tell themselves stuff to motivate themselves. But he definitely got hurt and was wobbled in the 12th after Fury got up in that 12th. he definitely felt Fury's punch. And it was that 12th round that really solidified in Fury's mind that the way to beat Deontay was to back him up and to fight on the front foot and to walk him down. Because Deontay likes to get leverage on his punches. He also telegraphs his right hand because he lifts his back elbow up every time he throws it. So these are things that Fury saw, and Deontay definitely felt Fury's power in that 12th round.
So the next super chat is from United 46. He says AJ versus Usyk officially announced for September 25th, Sky Sports. And this is exactly why you should come here. You know, the little guy always gets underrated. Yesterday, somewhere around 9:30, I announced that the fight was going to be announced today. And I announced that the fight was going to be exactly where they announced today it would be. Only 300 of you believe me, because we got 333 people that went to Mario's article on it, because my sources told me. And now all of a sudden, Sky Sports announced today, like Ness said. So you're late.
Where's it going to be? That's at Tottenham Stadium in North London?
You know it.
Yeah, that's a big venue. That's a big, brand new football stadium out there in London. That fight's going to be sick if it takes place there.
It's all right. We're going to keep working. We're going to keep being the little engine that could. I grew up on that little storybook. You know, I'm an old kid, so I'm going to just keep chugging. I think I can. I'll see you motherfuckers at the top. But all you dudes that didn't believe me when I was down here, don't start believing me when I'm up there. Because I told you.
So go ahead, Ness. Sorry.
I'm done. You know, I
was just going to shout out Skepta, too. He's one of my favorite rappers. He's from Tottenham. He's from that part of London.
You listen to UK rappers, huh?
Oh yeah, Skepta's one of the
You ain't got the hottest rapper in your playlist right now, though.
Who's that?
From the UK. Come on, man. I'm a beast. I'm a savage. No?
Oh, Mist. You like Mist from Birmingham?
Chill, man. We talking about Lawrence Okoli.
Oh, Lawrence Okoli. I thought I'm like savage. I'm like that's a Mist song from what I remember.
Okoli got a song like I'm a beast. I'm a savage.
You know the Dre song, right? I was playing it on my show last night, Mano a Mano.
I was gonna ask you that, even though this is an all-fair topic. But bro, how the fuck do you play Jay-Z's beat without getting flagged?
Well, first of all, that's Cameron's beat.
Okay. I mean, but that's Just Blaze. That's when he was under. That's when he was under Jay.
Yeah. That's one of my favorites right there. This one, right?
Yo, don't get me flagged. Don't get me flagged. Somehow he got the magic fucking not flag option over there, bro. But that's that shit. I was listening to your intro yesterday. Like, yo, I literally know I could fast forward your 2 minutes. I heard the whole 2-minute intro because you got two dope intros. You got like a dope, and then it goes into that. I
got the KRS-One beat first, and I got the Cameron beat second, and then I blend in our intro to it. Yeah.
How you doing that witchery, man?
Well, here's the thing, right? My channel's so small right now. I'm not a big dog like you. I just started recently. Like, you know, I was on a different channel before. I branched out to do my own shit. And if you're not getting monetized, you could use music. So my shit's not getting monetized. So
you balling like that, bro. Bro, I was jamming.
Yeah, I love those 2 beats.
For those 2 minutes, bro. I was jamming like, okay, I said, damn, let me note to self, how the fuck you do this magic? For real, bro, because they killing us with that. Honestly, as a podcast radio show, bro, it would be dope to play like 30 minutes, or excuse me, that was not what I meant. 30 seconds of some fire.
100%. And here's the thing too, right? It's to their own benefit for you to play some of that shit, because there's a lot of people that don't remember those beats, or maybe you got younger kids that will find out about it. And like, you could do a fair split. Like, I'll break you off with, once I do get my subs up, you know, I break you off with 10% or whatever for using that. It's no problem at all.
Yeah, they should. They should start allowing like a licensing, universal license fee as a content creator. Like, yo, you know, we made deals with Interscope and, you know, whatever labels. And if you pay us a monthly fee, no song. Because damn, man, I would be having Anuel popping right now. Like, word is going, man. It's that new Bad Bunny. I would be all over that, but these dudes is killing me, man. They killing me.
100%.
But anyway, I'm going to get out to some of these callers. We still got a couple of super chats. Not from KRS1, but from RNS, who says, shout out to the whole LDBC. Losers. Come on, dog. Shout out to the LDBC. You guys got issues with people. Go handle those issues somewhere else. But thank you for your $5 super chat. Brandon, I am a dude that I am friends with all. All right? I talk boxing. I actually want to feature some other people on the show. I want to do some debates, man. We got to get to the bottom of some of this stuff. But we got Brandon in Houston.
I got an idea for you, Ness.
What
up? Set up some battles, bro. Put the
Versus,
clock on.
right?
Let people battle each other in debates. 1 minute, then the other person gets a minute, and then you let the chat vote on who wins.
I've been thinking about that. Like, imagine like a Fred versus Moonshine.
Yeah.
And we are the judge and jury. They up there, lawyer, prosecutor. Let's go. Defense attorney. I love it.
Right.
I love it. Yo, but we can start with us and entice other people in. Like, who you want? Who you want on the other side?
Yeah.
Who you want? Who do you want? Like, you versus who?
Who do I want to battle?
Yeah, you versus who?
I got to take on the champ, right?
Who?
I'm already like 2-0 against you already, so maybe I should take on somebody else.
Yo, they did say you beat me yesterday, but they was lying, man. They was lying. You know what I mean? That's how my audience does. They flip flop on me on purpose, yo. They know I'm a troll, so they want to troll me. But Brandon says if PBC was offering Callum Smith, Billy Joe, Saunders, and Plant, Canelo would have signed that 3-fight deal before Al could finish the sentence. Oh, so you calling my man selective? You saying he's selective? All right. I don't think so, man. I don't know why people keep down Canelo when no one has fought as many tough fighters as Canelo. Like, no one has 4 nemesis on their resume. No one. Matter of fact, no one has 4 people on their resume that they was the underdog to and still fought. Nobody. Canelo was the underdog to Trout, Mayweather, Gennady. Probably that's it.
You're right, and you know what else too? He fought people when people were accusing him of ducking those people. You think about Lara, you think about Trout and you think about Triple G. He was accused of ducking all 3 of them.
As soon as Trout beat Cotto, everybody said, "Oh, he ain't gonna fight Canelo now. Canelo ain't gonna fight him now. He ain't gonna fight a southpaw." His own promoter said no. Canelo said yes. Then Lara disrespected him. His own promoter said no. Canelo said yes. Then Triple G disrespected him, and he did 2 fights with Triple G. Still don't get him credit. It's crazy. Greatest fight of all time. I know I took it too far there, right? Nah, I didn't. He's the greatest fighter of all time.
I mean, he's one of the best boxers I've seen in my era. Like, I look at it a little bit differently. To me, the greatest fighter of all time is always going to be a heavyweight, because I don't care, how great and how talented Canelo is. He's not even beating Joe Joyce in heavyweights. But if you want to talk about most talented, then that's another story, right?
Canelo will sleep Usyk. Remember I told you today, I've been said this. My audience knows I said this about a year ago. He beats Usyk. That's the heavyweight. Remember Andre Ward when he beat Kovalev, like, yo, I'm going to go to heavy. I want AJ. We didn't believe that. But some people did. Some crazy Ward fans, Oakland was like, yeah, Ward. I think Canelo could do Usyk. Did you see Chaz Weatherspoon versus Usyk? Did you see Derek Chisora? You telling me Canelo ain't a better fighter than Derek Chisora?
I didn't see him get really hurt. I didn't see him get wobbled. I didn't see him get put down.
Because
you know what
Derek
I mean?
Chisora ain't landing flush shots like Canelo would. But look, I know I'm dreaming. I know he ain't got nothing to prove. He ain't got to go up to heavyweight for y'all. Nah. Ken Stone. Shout out to the Team USA. Let's get this gold. Can't wait. What? Olympics? That's what he talking about?
Hasn't happened in a really long time. I think the last one on the men's side, I'm not talking about Clarissa Shields, was Andre Ward, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a long time ago. So shout out to the Cuban team, by the way, man. And we got to lift the U.S. embargo / blockade on Cuba. Get those people some money, some health care supplies, and the things they need right now.
Yeah, man. I would love for them to be like the U.S., right? Just go ahead and take the full support. I want my own, my parents' country, Dominican Republic, get some assistance. It's terrible over there. It's great to vacation, or great to live if you're rich. But if you're amongst the people, it's not easy. We got Shin C that says Bill about to materialize out of nowhere in a second. I actually text Bill like, yo, you hear this? You hear this? Because, that's what the way it is, We got another one from Shin C that says, Bill Haney calling Ness. That was actually Brandon, the producer. And Shin C with another one that says, Charlo got hurt, but keep a mean poker face. I don't know emoji. Get out of here. Mean poker face. My man, bruh, that's the thing. Come on, and you should love that more. You said you fought, man. I would love to be able to be like hit like that and not go down.
Yeah, I agree.
Be able to react the way he did, bro. I'll show you some sparring, bro. The dude hit me. I was like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Like he reacted different, man. That shit really looked like Lions only. That replay, he need to screenshot that when he was like, oh, he bit down like, motherfucker. Boom, shot that 1-2 down the pipe, like back up off me.
I was impressed by it. I was impressed by it in a way too when he had his orbital bone broken and kept fighting hard against Donaire. I mean, you got a lot of tough guys. Well,
who the fuck is that guy?
What you
but
say?
yeah, he's a tough guy. He took that shot and he kept going.
Damn, I still ain't even hear my soundbite, man.
Sorry, go ahead, Sid. My fault.
Nah, you said somebody and I was like,
who the fuck is that guy?
You know what I'm saying?
Inoue?
Who?
Inoue.
Who?
Okay. Inoue's the monster. That's one of my favorite fighters right now.
Oh,
you can't deny his greatness.
Yeah, yo, tell him Nonito's waiting. Nonito's waiting.
Well, Nonito's got to get back against Rigo. Why don't he take on Rigo again? I was at the Rigo fight at Radio City Music Hall.
I mean, listen, that's a fantastic fight, and you're right, it is unfinished business, but it doesn't mean that rematch doesn't mean the same because Rigo's already considered at the end of his career. They just sent me a press release. He's got to fight with Casemiro anyway. Yes,
looking forward to it. And the winner of that should take on Inoue or Donaire. It's one of the
I think Donaire and Inoue should fight now since those two are fighting. Let the winners meet.
That makes sense. See, this is why I love 115 pounds, Ness, and why I love 118 pounds. Because you get the fights we want to see. You get the top guys fighting the top guys, which unfortunately is not happening at 135 or at 147.
Yeah, no, listen, it's a pretty decent division right now. We just need some new blood up and coming to start, filling those ranks. Some American fighters, some pronounceable fighters, some popular fighters. Don't get me wrong, Inoue's huge. He does big numbers on YouTube. But that's because YouTube is a global platform. So, his country really comes out to check out his interviews and stuff like that. But 118, man, you got to Russell. You got a Russell coming up, Rashid Warren's back in number 1 in the WBA. Charlie Edwards, he's there, but I think he owes like the weight division below a rematch. Wasn't it Martinez, right? The one that's trained by Eddie? Yeah.
Well, there was Charlie Edwards and then his brother who just took the title from a South African long reigning champ. But yeah, Martinez, that was an interesting call back in London when Suleiman had to essentially step in and supersede the BBOC and its rules so that Edwards would keep his title.
Yo, I wouldn't mind Nonito versus Plania. Philippine versus, that shit would be so huge. Plania, he freaking, wasn't that the one, the kid that killed Joshua Greer? Yes. Yo, that would be huge, bro. Huge. They come out for Plania too. I remember I did a post fight. That shit was bananas. It was either a live fight chat or a post fight. Like, bro, Philippines came out. I know
that was an ESPN fight, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
It was a bubble. It was in the bubble. He made a name for himself off that, man. He made a name for himself off that, and that's a good fight. Him and Donaire, But I don't know that they're gonna do that Philippine on Philippine. You know, war like that. We going out to some callers. You know the number to call in, 142-556-952-41. Press 1 time. Voice your opinion right here on the Voice of the People hotline. And don't forget, you can also add Nestor Gibbs on Skype. And remember, if you want to catch the live or on-demand playback, of the 2 cards that me and the team commentated, so you can see some of these fighters that I keep bragging about, like my great new friend who I haven't found to social media. I need James to find me the social media of Savion Morales. We'll have Amacio Jimenez on tomorrow. First Mexican heavyweight, and he's Puerto Rican. You believe that? Have you ever heard of a Puerto Rican Mexican heavyweight? No, you haven't. I don't even think we got a Mexican Puerto Rican fighter, bro. This dude is about to break the fucking mold, and you've been put on first. Y'all all should follow him. Like, he's literally brand new. Like, he got like 200 followers. So do me a favor and head over to El Bazooka, which I gotta have a talk. I don't like El Bazooka. I don't know why Latinos do that shit. Who the fuck says El Bazooka? Pásame el bazooka. No, pásame la bazooka, man. It's la. What the fuck is El Bazooka?
What happens is, because it's a feminine word, but they're trying to make it masculine, and it just sounds all weird and fucked up.
It does, man. Pásame la bazooka, not El Bazooka. Pásame la bazooka. But anyway, his name is El Bazooka Jimenez. And I'm going to screen share that because I want y'all to get on. Look, he only got 281 followers, man. And let me see who's following. Let me see. TriStar. I don't see none of y'all. Sonny Canto following. I told you that story already. Where's?
Let me get up.
Okay, James. Shout out to James. Where my TBB? Yo, I swear to God, Keem, that's how you doing me? No Keem, no JT. Okay, that's how it is. Y'all ain't gonna follow the next great Mexican Puerto Rican heavyweight. Y'all ain't trying to be put on. Yo, I'm putting y'all on at the bottom. Look, he's 281. We on the bottom. We could ride out with this dude to the top. He only 2-0. We could be putting our friends on, man. You feel me? Watch this. Go ahead, talk to me.
Ness, I'm gonna jump up out of here after I say this because I got to get going. But I just read, courtesy of Corey Erdman on Twitter, that Dennis Baranchik, the same Baranchik that got KO'd like he did on ESPN, is going to be fighting Artem Lobov in a bare knuckle fight, and it was just announced. That's kind of crazy.
Not Ivan Baranchik though.
Oh, my fault. Okay, okay, I got caught out on that. Not Ivan. Yeah, there you go. I got it messed up.
Okay,
yeah, two different guys. I was about to say,
holy shit, Ivan, he ain't fighting
you're right.
no more?
I got caught out. It's a different Baranchik. Ness, thank you so much for having me on, bro.
Thank you for joining, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yo, let them know where to find you, man. You got to make that a habit.
Right, I'm on Maestro A Boxing on YouTube. Like and subscribe, share if you like it. My channel's new, but it's growing bit by bit. I'm actually pretty impressed by how fast it's growing. So please help me out. Like, sub, do all that good stuff. And Ness, I'll be back on with you next time you'll have me. Thank you so much.
All right, bro. Anytime, man. You know the link is open. You already got it. Jump on when you see it live. There you have it,
Thanks.
Maestro Boxing. We going out to the callers. Once again, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and follow the next big thing in the heavyweight division, man. It's going down. 13-time national champion. He won the Golden Gloves at 16, man. You getting in at the ground level right now. 3-0, 3 KOs. The bazooka. Because he packs a wallet. You see my man's neck go like it almost came out the ring. Look. Blink. You see that? Come on, you know you see that. K-Box in DC. What up? K-Box in DC. What up? K-Boxing. My man, yo, he be doing this every day. Every day. Just saying, right? Every time we go to him, he ain't available. Then he like, yo, you ain't go to me. It's like, bruh, we go to you, and then you ain't even paying attention when we go to you. But again, you know the number to call in. 1-425-569-5241. Press 1 time. Voice your opinion right here on the Voice of the People hotline. And don't forget, you could also add Nestor Gibbs on Skype to be part of the conversation from anywhere in the world. We're going to go out to, looks like Seattle, Washington, Boomerang, line 6. What up?
What's going on, Ness? How you doing today, brother?
Loving the day, brother. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well also. So, first off, I wanted to touch bases on the Wilder Fury situation. Personally, I just don't think at any point in time in Wilder's career he'd ever be able to beat Fury simply just because all he has is one-punch power. And, I mean, that's a gift in itself, but I think too many times boxers with that one-punch power, they neglect the fundamentals of boxing. And I think a guy like Fury that's pretty fundamentally sound on his toes and stuff, a guy like Wilder, if he can't get him out with his best shot, that's just that. And then I also wanted to touch on the Devin Haney situation as far as the guy that you had on. He made a good point about Dazn overpaid Devin Haney. I think Devin Haney's a amazing talent, but, you know, I'm about to bring Boots up. When you compare him to Boots is superior to him in every single way, Ness. And you always hear about Haney saying he sparred this person, that person. We ain't never heard about him or Bill saying they had that Boots smoke. That's my call. I'm out, Ness. Have a good day, brother.
I mean, Haney ain't a welterweight. He ain't going to spar every single welterweight out there, but he has sparred Sean Porter in the welterweight division. You know, you can't spar everybody. You know, it's what work is available to you, what work you could call in, who's in town, who you know. Actually, I'm trying to set up some sparring with Cassius Chaney and my heavyweight Derek Starlin. If you aren't following Derek Starlin, well then you are doing yourself a disservice. Very declarated U.S. amateur, and now he's improved his record to 3-0 with 2 KOs. And this is an old flyer that we made for him, obviously, before he got the win this weekend. So, now he's 3-0, 2 KOs. He got the knockout, southpaw heavyweight, here's a little recap of the night.
Up to some brand new hate.
We're going to go not use the music, you know what I mean? So this is just him here warming up. Got the new hyper dunks. Shout out to him, you know what I'm saying? You got to look good, feel good. You're going to win big. You know what I'm saying? Even though my man Savio Morales, which James hasn't sent me the IG to or phone number, so we could do a feature on my man from Perth Amboy, New Jersey, came out there with the fucking wrestling sneaker Asics and still put on a fantastic show, destroying a Devin Haney Promotions fight. I mean, he killed my man, what is it, Steven Acosta, I think? He killed them, brother. It was like, whoa. But this is my other heavyweight right here, Derek Starlin, man. Go ahead and give him a follow. Brand new. He's another, declarated amateur, just like Jimenez, you know what I'm saying? But he's not on the ground level. He got about 2,000, He's also a personal trainer, also from New Jersey, So definitely go ahead and follow him. As you can see, Alex there, Doomsday Lioness, he follows him. You know what I mean? So get with the team, man. Don't be left behind, because when these dudes start shining, then it's like, nah, yo, Ness, get a picture with my man. Can I get a picture with that heavyweight? Nah, we don't know you, bruh. We don't know you. You know what I'm saying? When he comes to the appreciation night, we don't know you now. We don't know you. So better get on now. Just saying. Let me see who we got going out to. Damn. James said he can't find the IG. We need Savion, man, for real. We need to get him on here. That dude performed on a high level. But let's go out to Tennessee's own. Putting Tennessee on the map, man. Shout out again, to you and Adrian, man. Adrian came out here and told us that, Wisconsin, Watertown was a place not to sleep on. And sure enough, it wasn't. We had a fantastic event for Border Wars 11, and now we're back for Border Wars 12, September 18th. If you don't know what Border Wars is, tune in tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern time every single Wednesday for a Border Wars show where we talk boxing, but it's about you stepping in the ring. Get in the ring and swing, shawty. We going out to Tennessee.
James Payne is my name, partner, how about you? Standing on my property and I'm gonna see about you. If I come out on my porch, I see you chillin' in your wheel. Boy, I hope you know somebody better be waiting on the bitch. James Payne, baby, see me pissing on the post. If we're playing basketball, you might see me in the post.
TBV, how the audio sound?
You good? You good? What up?
Man, what's poppin'? This back with another one like he never left. We talking about that Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury with the games. Got cherry picked 2 times, huh? Well, I mean, I think in the beginning Wilder was trying to cherry pick Tyson Fury and he looked ripe for the picking, but he just got those skills, man. He's got a special, unique set of skills, and he's like the fucking equalizer in the heavyweight division, man. You can't take a guy like that lightly, but he's just so unpredictable. You just really can't bet the house on him because you just never know what you're gonna get with Fury. You might get a plus 300-pound snot nose, leaking nose heavyweight, or you might get a fit, informed, shit talking Fury. So you just never know, man. I'd much rather put my money on someone like Wilder, who I know gonna be more consistent and show up and look the part of a true heavyweight champion. But we see what happened with their picking, man. That went terribly wrong, and now we gotta get some correction going on in this heavyweight division. So hopefully Fury bounces back. Hopefully the rumors ain't true and he wasn't getting touched up by the real Big Baby up in training camp. But I'm hearing different. I'm hearing Big Baby was putting in major work and putting heavy leather all over Fury. So Fury wasn't up to par. So that's probably what they needed to do, a little detour on that fight date. But I wanted to hear some of these other callers' opinions on this because I know that this Fury and Wilder topic gets the community excited. You know what I'm saying? We usually get a lot of callers and we usually get a lot of good reactions. So I want to hear what some of the other callers got to say. But before I go, Watertown, Wisconsin, y'all better buckle up your seatbelts. We got Border Wars, the second installment from Wisconsin coming up. So y'all better get ready because they're going to tear it up this time. A great fight card schedule, and TBV will be there in full effect. So shout out to the community. Shout out to TBV. Nets keep putting in that major work. I look forward to continuing this fantastic relationship that we got started between the Boxing Voice and TriStar and Southpaw Promotions, man. And I'm going to hang up and listen to the rest of the show.
All right. Looks like we got Bill Haney say his name 3 times, pop up like candy, man. What up, champ?
Hey, what's happening? What's happening, Ness?
Oh, you good. You good. How are you?
Man, shout out to you, the Boxing Voice. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And everybody in the chat. Of course, my brother's on the panel, man, this morning. How you guys feeling, man?
Man, we good, man. Anytime I could do what I love, I'm happy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I got a chance to hear the tail ending of Keith, and then I got a chance to hear the other brother that came on just talking about sparring welterweights. We've been sparring welterweights. We can spar the best welterweight, TBE himself. You know what I mean? So,
Floyd.
You know, we ain't never had no problem getting in there with anybody. You know what I mean? But in all seriousness, what's up with this JoJo Diaz guy?
I mean, it seems like on social media, him and Haney have agreed. Are you going to tell us different? Because I just seen some tweets maybe yesterday where Haney was like, keep the same energy. And he's like, I'm keeping the same energy. I'm talking to my peoples this weekend. You do the same. So where are we? You tell us where we at.
Well, I mean, I'm waiting on my phone to ring from him. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but why wait? When you could just call Eric or Roberto Diaz, you know you got them numbers.
Absolutely, but when you're in the position that they're in, right? As a world champion, we weren't able to call Ryan Garcia and force Ryan Garcia in the ring. You're not able to force your mandatory. Your mandatory can force you in the ring, and that's just the way that it goes. You know.
I know, but I mean, being as though you feel like your son is the boogeyman of the division, why wouldn't you open up those airways rather than waiting? I mean, it sounds like JoJo has options. I don't know that you want to leave them out there lingering without starting a conversation. Leonard Ellerby has expressed interest, even though Keith Idec doesn't believe it. He has expressed interest, and at the end of the day, JoJo is a featherweight moving up, right? So for Tank, it's a safe fight. And, JoJo also expressed interest in Ryan. So it's like someone has to lock him in before he's off the table.
Him expressing interest and vocally having someone to express interest in him, right? It's both him and Devin been going back and forth. I think you've only heard Devin, the one that's expressed interest. I know for sure that Ryan Garcia is not fighting him next, right?
Not fighting JoJo.
Sure. Not fighting JoJo.
Why do you say for sure? That seems so definite.
I know for sure. I know from Ryan Garcia's people, of course, they're not fighting JoJo next. And you've never heard Ryan Garcia come out and say it.
So are you insinuating that Ryan's fighting Tank next in October?
Ryan's not fighting Tank next either.
Is he fighting Devin Haney next?
Not fighting Devin Haney next either.
So he's not fighting.
Listen, when he said that he had problems, he said that he had issues, and he said, do you guys just expect him then to then resolve his issues and be back in the ring with a killer? Right? He's not getting in there with none of the killers, period. Now, I don't know. I don't want to say anything about the mental health, but I don't think that he's healthy, right? I don't think that he's healthy enough mentally or physically probably to deal with those guys right now. Maybe at a later date, but he's just not, according, to his team. He's not ready.
So where's that?
And I heard that JoJo Diaz, you know what I mean? He's looking for his best case scenario, right? Which I don't know what that could be, right? Other than becoming a world champion, again, a 2-time world champion, right? And being able to, have that belt.
So what is Devin Haney plans? Because sounds like you guys, for the last 2 fights you didn't wait.
See, you know how that's how it goes. If the mandatory, which we've been in this position before, if the mandatory doesn't enforce his position, right? The mandatory either from the sanctioning body gets dropped from that position. We've seen it happen with Fortuna. We've seen it happen with Ryan Garcia. And we'll see it happen with JoJo Diaz if he doesn't enforce himself being a mandatory. Then it gives Devin a chance to, they give Devin a voluntary, right? Where he picks the person. But right now, there's nothing to pick, right? We were ordered within 90 days to fight.
Vasil's available.
Or mandatory.
Vasil's number one. If Joseph doesn't want it, what's the probability of Vasil Lomachenko taking that fight?
Then that's what we do. We talk to Bob Arum. Bob Arum becomes then the number one.
Speaking of, let me interject, man. First and foremost, I wanna hope that this is wrong information, because I want to believe that you would have told me you got an offer from Top Rank and that it was a low ball offer. But I'm being told you guys received an offer from Top Rank to sign to Top Rank, but you didn't take it because you felt it was low. Any truth to that?
No truth. No truth at all.
No offers.
No offers.
Good. I don't want to be left on the cold, out on the outside, People saying that. I don't know. That's what they were saying the other day. So why wouldn't Top Rank be interested in a WBC champion at a 135-pound division when they have a few pieces of the puzzle?
I'm sure that I'm certain that they're interested, right? But we haven't received any offers yet. And when I do, and if the offer is right or not right, I'm going to definitely let you know.
And why haven't you shopped them around? You were in the music business, right? Why you ain't shopping this new hot CD, Devin Haney's greatest hits out right now? Why you ain't hitting them up?
Devin is one of Devin is exploring options.
Okay.
He's exploring options, but at the same time, what we're doing is we can't do too much, because 90 days we were ordered to defend against the winner of JoJo Diaz and Javier Fortuna in 90 days, right? We were not able to talk to anyone about another fight. until the winner had been established between Jojo Diaz and Javier Fortuna. Now, if Jojo Diaz is relinquishing his position and Golden Boy is relinquishing their position, then that's something else.
So 90 days from the date of the Javier Fortuna fight.
90 days from the date of our fight.
You have 90 days from the date of Linares' fight to make a deal with JoJo?
With JoJo, yep. We had 90 days.
So what date was that? Let me see. How much time has passed and how much is left? Do you got a countdown? Like you got that on the app or something? You know how much time is left?
In the back of my mind, I know that it's the time is ticking. You know what I'm saying? I know if we were to hunt it,
May 29th. So a month is about to be up. 90
Right.
days. So he's got 69 days left. Maybe.
Yeah, and you know, if we were to hunt it, then it would be a different thing. You know what I'm saying? Versus being the hunters, right? So,
I happened to see your son, man. I was expecting you to be there. What's going on? Why he wasn't in the ATL, man?
I know I couldn't make it, but Dev went and the rest of the team went, and they had said they had an amazing time.
They did, but I got to tell you, man, Devin is a representative of DHP, and I understand that he doesn't want to take shine from his fighters, but Eddie, right, is a promoter, and he doesn't refuse interviews to give shine to Devin. In fact, he uses his million subscribers on Instagram to promote Devin. Just a piece of advice, you know, he could give more shine to his fighters by talking about them, but it was very amazing to see him at a club level show promoting two of his fighters, you know, hands-on in a grassroots fight club in the ATL. No security. Man, shout out to your son, man. He really made a lot of people happy that day, showing up and just showing support. You know, it was amazing, but it would have went a step further to do a few interviews, talk about DHP, because, you know, when I said it, people were like, oh, shit, Devin Haney's promoting fighters? I'm like, yeah, he got 2 or 3 that I know of, right? Because you got Amari.
Yeah, he has 3 fighters.
You got Amari, Stephen Acosta, and Shamar. What's Shamar's last name? I was trying to tell my audience yesterday. I can't remember.
Jones.
Shamar Jones. He did fantastic.
Shamar Canal and Amari Jones.
Canal, because yes, Canal Street. Bro, I butchered that on the live telecast, but that kid's sharp. 18 years old. What was the decision?
I think in the process, or I don't know why, he's going to probably promote Mickey Bay's last couple fights as well.
Hey, listen, I got a few dates, man. Let's get Mickey Bay on one of our shows. We do some live commentating, sell a few pay-per-views. Let's do it. DHP was just there. It'll be great, man. I'm pumped this for real, man. That was actually a fantastic fight card, man. And Shamar, 18 years old. What was give me why? Why turn him pro? Was it because the Olympics and the whole COVID? 18 years old, you know, obviously your son turned pro at 17. So is this just the DHP, you know, route, or is everyone kind of a different trajectory? But why Canal turning pro at 18?
Well, everybody's different. He uses the name Shamar the Boss Canal. I like to call him Shamar the Freak Canal because I mean he's a big, really he's a 126 pounder. Right, he fought at 130, but he's a 26 pounder with a 75-inch reach. You know, can you imagine that? Right, 5'11", 75-inch reach at 126 pounds, and you know he's a multinational championship winner as well. You know what I mean? And we just think this is the time in which that he's ready to go. Both his coach, Superman Aaron Davis, out of New York. One of his coaches has done a great job with him. You know what I mean? And he's a very humble but a hardworking kid. And as a team, that we just feel that he's ready to go, ready to make that step in the pros.
And how did he hook up with Devin Haney Promotions? Like, he's from New York. You guys are from the Bay. Like, how'd this come about?
Well, one of my god brothers, Robert Brewster, who's from New York, he's from Harlem, who brought me his nephew. That's his nephew, and I kind of embraced him. I embraced him as one of my own, nephews as well. And I've been following him for many years now. And we've been helping from a distance. We just decided that it was about time to bring it under one roof, bring it under Devin Haney Promotions, and as a collective, start getting him the fights that he needs.
So, like how hands-on are you with the guidance of the career? Like, can we go to you for his next date? Is that something that his father tells you, or when will we see him again? What can we expect to see him again?
We're gonna try to get him right back in there. I know that we're looking for to get him on I know for certain Amari will be on the August 14th date. God willing.
The one with Lorenzo, Chuck Simpson, and
yes, and Darren Cunningham.
Yeah.
And Darren Cunningham.
So David?
David? I don't know David.
The Cortez brothers?
Oh, of course. I know the Cortez brothers. Yeah. Mickey and his brother Tez.
Fams, man, grab your phone, drop that word, man. I got a call scheduled like in an hour. He called me while I was live. I'm trying to do the commentating for that. Y'all need me to, like, nobody don't even know. I just found out Darren is fighting, man. He called me last night and told me he's fighting on this August 4th. I'm like, what? I was just in Atlanta. Yo. Anyway, I'm going to brag in a few because I know them numbers is coming in, man. They going to tell me what happened. They very pleased, I'm telling you, man. And I would love to do that. That would be awesome, seeing Devin there.
Hey, listen, you are one of the hardest working guys in boxing right now, man.
It's not even hard work. Bill, I love this shit, man. I really do. Like, again, like, I'm genuinely excited that I got to meet Shamar. These dudes don't understand. I guess I'm turning into a hipster, so I want to be the first dude to discover someone, you know what I mean? And Shamar looked fantastic. Unfortunately, the other DHP fighter, Steven Acosta, he suffered a loss, but the dude that beat him, it's a wrap. I'm a fan. Savion Morales, y'all should sign that kid. Perth Amboy, New Jersey, Southpaw, bruh. You seen what he did? Oh my God, this kid, he came in there with Asics. He was a wrestler. He confused us all. He had the little cheap Everlast shorts, the worn out Asic, and bruh, when he start fighting, you can see that skill a mile of fucking way and the confidence. That kid's a problem. New Jersey, stand up.
I heard that kid. No, I heard about that kid.
He's
I heard
nice.
That fight that we called the other kid Baby Canelo, right? We call him Baby Canelo because his hair and the way that he looks. But yeah, he took a tough defeat, and hopefully he can come right back.
He gonna have to, man, because but listen, the thing is he ain't got to put his head down because he didn't lose because of conditioning. This kid was just sharp, and he landed some straight lefts that, you get hit in the right spot, you get hit in the right spot. You know what I mean? But that dude was a sleeper. He don't even got an Instagram, Bill. Got it. You got to jump on this kid before somebody else do, because it's a wrap. Cats, the secret's out. You can ask my audience. I haven't stopped saying his name. Him, the heavyweight, Amacio Jimenez. Oh my God, first Puerto Rican Mexican heavyweight.
I heard about him as well. Yeah,
I never heard of that shit in my life. This dude don't even know he's a future star, bro. It's a wrap. He like 6'3", or 6'4", 270. His father wants to get him to like 245 when it's all said and done. He's fast. He's got a bazooka. Man, I hope I can make it to that Tennessee show that he's fighting on. This. The issue is it's a Friday and we got our border wars on that Saturday, but I like that kid. Yeah, man. But anyway.
So the guy,
69 days
the
left.
Boxing scene says being overpaid.
Yeah.
I think different. I want to think different. I want to think that Devin has definitely gotten paid what he's supposed to getting paid.
Well, that's what he said. I think you didn't hear it all. He said that you would believe you're getting paid the way you deserve to be paid, but he believes that another network might consider it above market value.
Okay. Well, that's that they're entitled to, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. What we did with DAZN early on, DAZN, just like he pointed out to the fact that DAZN wasn't very big here in the States. And Devin, we had I think what was his name? Farmer was with DAZN, and the other fighter, Danny Jacobs, was with DAZN as well. And when Devin made the move to partner up with Matchroom and go on DAZN, there wasn't a whole lot of talk about it, right? It was the opposite, in the sense of saying that Devin was going to get lost, fighting on DAZN, that no one would be able to hear about him. He wouldn't be able to become a star on DAZN. This was before Canelo was there. This was before Mikey was there. This was before some of the bigger fighters, right? And I think we showed what we wanted to show. We wanted to show that we could go to a network like DAZN. We can go to a lesser known network and still gain traction. So it's no difference.
I need you to rebut something else he said. He when I said Tank and Haney's the biggest fight to make in Atlanta, he said, well, Ryan and Tank is the biggest fight, and you got to put that somewhere, I guess, in LA or Vegas. But because he suggested maybe Devin sold about 4,000 or 5,000 in Vegas because those numbers weren't officially out, and that Ryan, in the heart of a pandemic, sold maybe 6,000 and 7,000 in Dallas, where his fight shouldn't have been. So what's your rebut to that? Like, I thought Haney was doing well with tickets. Like, he stepped in on short notice over there in the MGM Harbor and sold that out in a fight that was supposed to be for Usyk versus Sponge, and before Sponge it was someone else, and I thought you guys saved the day. I guess you didn't, in his eyes rather. And then in Vegas, I was there. I thought that shit was lit, and I thought it was full. He says, yeah, I was there. The crowd was good, but he feels like it was scaled down. It was supposed to be, I think he said, I don't want to misquote him, but he said 5,000 would have been half or less than half. So,
well, it was never open. It was never fully opened. Anyway, the week before that one, or no, I'm saying the week after. No, the week before was the Undisputed with Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez, and they didn't have anybody in there. And that was right down the street in Vegas. So for us, the very next week,
but then they sell 7,000. Well, they released that they sold 7,000, and 1,000 of those people were allegedly Josh Taylor fans.
Yeah, I don't think that they didn't sell 7,000 to Josh Taylor. That was a closed show. I don't think that they sold that, because that was at the Virgin. The Virgin doesn't hold 7,000, I don't believe.
Let me double check. But so why do they seem to believe Ryan is a bigger star? I mean, how many times has Devin main evented?
I mean, he's main evented. I think 4 out of 5 of the times, 4 out of his last fights, he's main evented.
And obviously,
the only time that he didn't main event is when he let the YouTubers, when we went to the Staples Center to do that fight, and Logan Paul and KSI was the main event. So out of the last 5 fights, Devin was, 4 out of them. The last fight, he was 5. He was the main event.
And Ryan, was I wrong? I thought he only main evented the Campbell fight. Did I miss? Was the Duno or someone else a main event?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that, Ness.
So you think it's only one as well, or you're just not sure?
Well, the thing is that the boxing guys, we're so quick to give credence to YouTubers, right? We're quick to give them credence, right? But we don't give our own fighters. We don't give our own fighters the credence that they need. I know that Devin.
So
is
I
a
got it
draw.
right here. Sorry to cut you off. Just want to give you clarity.
Uh-huh.
Aram is looking at staging Taylor Ramirez clash at the MGM Grand or the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas, and he sees there being 6,000 to 7,000 tickets available for the fight and possibly more. He says he's predicting Nevada's only allowing 50% capacity. So his talk. So 7,000 was the ticket number they were projecting.
How much did they sell? Does it say?
I don't see a actual ticket sold. Let's keep looking though. But you were saying?
When we talk about, and I always talk about the star power that TBE brings, right? Let's not confuse his core fan base, right? Anytime that you do millions of buys, right? And you're still semi-retired, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know that Tank Davis and the Tank Davis show is sponsored by Floyd Mayweather, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, and they do a wonderful job selling out arenas and stuff like that, you know. But then when you talk about Devin and the other lightweights, right? I think that his numbers are fair. I think he does just as many, you know, as most, and you know, not as much as some, right? You might talk about Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis, and then that's probably about it. I think with everyone else, they're all about in the same boat. The Lomachenko, Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, right? I think it's fair to say that Devin doesn't sell less than those guys. The fight between Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez was during the pandemic. There weren't any tickets had sold to show anything. I think Teofimo Lopez before then, 5, 6, 7,000. You know, I think it's fair.
So you think the Tank Ryan fight is bigger than Devin Tank?
Well, I mean, I think that it might reach a bigger audience. I think that because of what Ryan's fan base, and I'm just going on it from strictly from the Instagram, the social media following. I think that it's a big fight, but I think that the fight with Tank and Devin is a bigger fight for boxing and the culture of boxing. I think more people with more hardcore fans would be anticipating a fight with Devin and Tank and not knowing the outcome other than looking at Ryan as food to Tank. I don't think no one believes that Ryan will beat Tank.
Mm.
And I also believe that they're doing a great job. Ryan Garcia is doing a great job at using Tank's name for promotion, for promoting himself, similar to what Teofimo Lopez has done with Devin as well. Talk about him being the next fight. He's going to make him. He's going to mandate it. He's going to do everything to make the fight happen. Then goes the other direction.
Why aren't you trying to get a deal with Mayweather, seeing as though how good of a job they're doing with Tank, right? Like, obviously, you know, Linares is, you know, more accomplished than Mario Barrios, right? And you share a common opponent in Gamboa, and, you know, he had Gamboa in a sold-out Atlanta crowd. As a free agent, seeing what they're doing for Tank, knowing the relationship that your son already has with Floyd, I mean, the Rolly fights are there. They could get you the Gary Russell fight, and then maybe they'll be willing to do the Tank fight. Why isn't that an option, man?
That's of course always it's always an option. We've always had a great relationship with
Yeah, but I mean,
Floyd.
actually making it. I mean, actually having that conversation. Like, yo, can you get us this Gary Russell fight and Romero? We know Tank is gonna be hard to corner in, but can we get this Romero and Gary Russell fight? You don't like those fights, Bill?
No.
You think you better off fighting Teofimo and Ryan? Are those because like what's more realistic to happen for Devin Haney? What's more realistic? Is Teofimo and Ryan more realistic?
Of course, they would say if we fought Rolly, in my opinion, if we fought Rolly and we fought Gary Russell, then they would say, well, you didn't fight Tank. I mean, you didn't fight Teofimo or you didn't fight Ryan, right? If we do everything in our powers to be in a position to fight Ryan and to fight Teofimo, then you'll hear him say, why don't you fight Rolly or why don't you fight Gary?
But don't you think that the boxing world sees that no one is signing up to fight your son? So if you decided to fight Gary Russell, like I don't think anyone's going to say, well, why didn't you fight Ryan? Because we know Ryan is recovering from mental health problems that he was going with, or I hope I'm saying the term right. But, outside of that, we know Tank is doing what his promoter said would be in-house, or, they're picking their fights, right? Like Ryan and Tank are busy. Tio's trapped in this Cambosos fight. Is it going to happen? Is it not? You got Coppinger reporting that it's not. Are you, all right, I'll give you a twist. If the fight doesn't happen with Cambosos, what should legally take place is Eddie's secondary bid is the second highest, so he wins. But that doesn't, again, guarantee you that Tio's going to fight Devin after that one-off fight on DAZN.
Right.
But what do you think about that?
Well, the thing about us is that the people will actually get a chance to see that Devin makes a better dance partner than Barrios. He made a better dance partner for Tank than Gamboa. He makes a better dance partner for Teofimo than Cambosos, right? So it's bittersweet in the sense of, for us to say that the Tank Davis fight won't happen because we're not on the same side of the street. But then you hear Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis fight potentially happening, or you'll hear Tank Davis and Jojo Diaz fight potentially happening, right? So what's the difference? Is what I would say, to everyone. What's the difference?
Yeah, but do you believe
whoever Devin is signed with, or whoever he's not signed with, what makes him not come in and be the perfect dance partner?
But do you believe when they say JoJo's an option? Like, that's what I was asking Idek. Does he believe it? I mean, you know what else? If you want to believe that, Leonard Ellerby said that Tank's next fight could possibly be a welterweight, which would be a big pay-per-view. And that's quotation marks, big pay-per-view. So, what do we believe? Do we believe that they want interest in JoJo? Do we believe he's fighting at welterweight next? You know what I mean? They can do whatever they want. And that's why I've always implored you to do you. Don't wait on anyone.
But okay, let me ask you this, though. What opponent made Tank be able to do what he wants to do? Which opponent was the defining?
His views indicated that. Look, Charlo just went for Undisputed Saturday and still came under Tank's last free fight on Showtime. It's just the kid's a star, man. When you're a star, it don't matter who you fight. I mean, Floyd it didn't matter for Floyd. He picked and created the green print of him versus a Latino across from him. So
absolutely. I believe
it's
that.
the numbers, and obviously the network. The network is telling him he's a star by treating him as such. They're the ones doing 10,000 pieces of shoulder content, and it's doing great numbers on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, he's a star. I was there. He's a star. He's definitely a star.
So. I believe he's definitely a star too as well. I hear a lot of people saying different, but I believe he is. you know. And for that reason, he's a dangerous fighter. He's a star. You know what I mean? The whole Mayweather brand brings a lot to the table, and for that reason, you know what I mean. We would be available.
I just feel, people will think, oh, you just aligned with Bill. You got to say what you got to say to keep him coming back. But the truth is, after being to both of you guys' fights, I just believe that that's the biggest fight to make. Whether it's only big in Atlanta or it can be done in Vegas. But those
It's
two
big to me.
crowds, I think,
It's a
need
big
to
fight.
mix.
It's a big fight. It's a big fight everywhere.
Yeah.
It's a big fight around the world.
I would
right?
honestly though, I think I want to see it in Atlanta. I mean, I know you probably want it in Vegas, but I think I'd probably, I just feel that those two crowds, if they mix, it would be insane. You know what I mean? I think that shit would be like a fashion show, a car show, a boxing extravaganza. It's pay-per-view. It's two very talented fighters. I don't see I've never, Ryan. Everybody keeps saying he's the big fight, but even this guy, right? He's been covering the sport since 1996. And he's like, yeah, Tank and Ryan's the bigger fight, but I don't see Tank beating. I don't see Ryan beating any of the lightweights. He didn't pick him to beat anybody. So why is he this big fight? He's at one main event. No one thinks he'll win, but they keep saying he's the big fight. He's the big fight. Maybe I haven't been to a Ryan fight yet, and I got to go to feel his presence in the audience, but I don't see as the big fight. The big fight is Devin and Tank. To me, I came back from Devin's fight and said that. I came back from Tank's fight and said that. That's the fight. And I thought, honestly, no disrespect to you or Devin, I really thought they were going to jump on the opportunity to be a full champion after watching the older Linares. He hurt Devin. That cannot be denied. He hurt Devin. So Tank should have got some sort of like.
So why isn't the line around the corner, man? I mean, I'm
That's
sure
what I
as an
don't
opponent,
understand.
we come in as a B side. We don't argue the fact that being a B side to a Tank Davis, right? Right. I don't even argue about being a B side to fucking that other kid.
Ryan Tio,
No,
which one?
Fuck no, Ryan Garcia.
Okay, so you're the B side to Ryan.
Right.
Okay.
Right. You know what I'm saying? We understand that, right? We understand that the hoopla that he brings, right?
Yep.
But why is the line around the corner to make the fight happen?
That's what I don't understand.
What do they see? What do they not see about Devin and being a dance partner that they see in all the other fighters?
I think it was, even though he showed vulnerability, I think they seen too much, because again, it was a whitewash up until then. It was crazy. Like, I didn't expect that at all. And it was a one-sided fight. It was looking very close to like Mayweather Robert Guerrero, but then he got caught. It's like, okay, yeah, you should be able to catch him, Tank, is what I thought they would see, or at least think,
Well, I know that Devin is 22 and he's the youngest world champion in boxing right now. So, we won't get rattled by, what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, we won't put ourselves in a bad predicament or a bad deal because they're not willing to fight. Right? We're not going to just do the wrong thing.
But could you give us a 7-day turnaround and just drop that text to Espinoza like, yo, what do you think about Devin Gary and Rolando Romero 2-fight deal? Can you just throw that out there?
Don't you think an executive that's as smart as Steven Espinoza?
Listen, you said it, Ness. You said it. I'm the hardest working. All you got to do is work. Forget about what they ain't doing. You do it.
Right.
Let's get it done. We could do it.
Right.
The community was behind Gary and Devin, and at the end of the day, like, you getting a featherweight moving up, like it's great for Devin. it's like, yo, the public really wants me to fight a smaller man? Okay, I'll take this free check.
Right.
No, you don't see it that way?
I mean, I see Devin being available for all those guys. You know what I'm saying? And I think that all of them make great fights. I think Gary Rustin is a very accomplished super featherweight that has the ability to move up to lightweight. He said it on numerous occasions that that's what he was going to do. I didn't doubt him, right? I thought by now he would have had a fight at lightweight.
He's got nothing on the schedule, man. He's been out the ring almost a year and a half. It's the perfect time. He's back in the same position he was when you were first negotiating with him, Bill. I mean, honestly.
Well, I spoke with his dad, and it wasn't something that they had on the menu, right?
That's crazy.
That they had on the menu, that they weren't necessarily interested in the fight. When I spoke to his dad.
When was that? Was that a long time ago? How recent?
Maybe 2 weeks ago.
Oh, damn. Thank you. See, this is why I love you. At least you working. You out here trying. So that means Espinoza can't make that, because if the team doesn't want it, the network can't make you fight him. What about the Romero fight? Do you like that enough to make any phone calls?
Definitely.
All right.
Definitely. I like the Rolly fight. I like the Rolly fight because I believe that Rolly would like to fight. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I think Rolly and his father would want to make the fight happen.
Wow.
It would just be upon, whether or not the Mayweather promotions would.
And that's why I said talk to them first, right? Because if you with them, maybe they ain't mad to give you the Cuban in Rolando Romero.
Absolutely.
And then they get that opportunity to give you the Green Prince. Like, all right, you if you with him, then Mayweather could do the Latin across the corner from you. And look, people think
it was just so stereotypical that the things that were actually being said about Floyd's fighters and what Floyd, that was the quote unquote the easy way to go. You know what I mean? And for Devin, he wanted to make his own path, right? He wanted to make his own path. However hard the bed was, he wanted to make it hard, and he wanted to lay in it. We felt that going with Eddie up until that point,
but that's the
Eddie
past.
had been.
You
that's
did
past.
that already.
Correct.
I mean, now you've showed Floyd. Look, we did it our way. We you're doing fantastic with Gervonta, but look what we did on our own. What can we do together now? I mean, because you obviously have shown your worth now, in my opinion. So it's like, now what would a fight promoted by DHP and Floyd Mayweather Promotions look like now that DHP has already shown the world what they can do on their own? You know what I mean? I just would like to see it, whether it's a one-off with Rolly, or a Gary. I mean, I just don't like people sitting around and waiting. I want to see your son back in action. I want to go to another fight. I want to see a Skittles variety of Lamborghinis. I had a fantastic time, watching the crowd that he brought out. I want to be involved in that again. That's all. I don't want to wait fucking 12 months to be at a Devin Haney fight.
Absolutely. Well, why don't you get JoJo Diaz on here?
We've been trying. I can screen share. We've been trying. He's a little bit hard to pin down. At least he's communicating, unlike other champions.
What about the Golden Boy?
What, Oscar?
Golden Boy.
Oscar?
Robert Diaz or anybody?
Yeah, Robert I spoke to, and he was out of the country or away from California, but we are locking Robert in. He did say yes. And as far as Oscar, I'm going through Gabriel for Oscar, trying to see can we pin him down. But these guys are not as easy to lock in.
Absolutely, brother. Well, we're definitely in a position where we're a phone call away from the Golden Boy team to make this fight happen. You know what I mean? It's not something that, just like Javier Fortuna's manager said, that once Javier Fortuna won, that we would then be going up to 140. Well, you know what I mean. He got washed by a JoJo Diaz, right? And we're still here. So that's some testament to, you know what I mean, are willing to put on the show for the people.
But doesn't this make it more difficult for Devin to make that weight by, you know, having long, you know, periods in between fights?
If you go on his
Box right?
his Instagram on Real Devin Haney right now, if you go on his story, he's on there working right now. You know, so he's working, and it's not even a fight.
Yeah, he's running. I see him here. Let me go ahead and screen share this.
So we don't have a date, and he's still working. So he'll be ready.
Well, all right. I think we're screen sharing now. Yes. Yeah, he's definitely in the gym.
And I see that, you know, that Floyd was doing the same thing at 22, right? He kept calling out these guys, kept calling out them guys, and when he did get him in the ring, he punished them.
Yeah.
We don't expect anything else.
I'm just watching the story here. We're watching Real Devin Haney's story. He definitely is in the gym. Doing squats in the whole nine. Well, I've put out a post in case the public wants to ask Bill Haney a question while we got him. You know, time is money, so snap. Bill, you think Crawford's really fighting Zepeda next?
I don't know. I hope not.
Yeah, me too, man.
Yeah, I hope not.
What do you think? Is it Keith and Ugas, or is it Ugas and Berto who magically appeared on the rankings?
Keith, wait a minute. Is it Keith or Ugas? What do you mean?
Yeah, Keith and Ugas, or Ugas and Berto, who magically appeared on the WBA top 10 rankings after 4 years of inactivity. Damn, they got him really like out here doing explosive drills, huh? I need some of these in my next Border Wars fight here. That must be for like that stamina. Sheesh. He working, Bill. He working. So why you ain't show up to Atlanta? You still ain't tell us that. What happened? Ain't you like the CEO?
Yeah, Devin made the appearance. Devin was there.
Only one at a time. I hear you. We got Brandon in Houston says, no question, more of a statement. Bill, I love the fact that you understand that YouTube is to boxing as the golf channel is to golf. I appreciate you treating platforms with the same amount of respect as you would an ESPN or a Fox. Always enjoy your input. Well, there you go. He's absolutely right. Bill, stand up. Anybody want to ask Bill a question? You know, you got to go to the Patreon post. But, Bill, I don't want to keep you. We could take some calls. Let's see if they got anybody on the line want to talk to Bill Haney. Anybody want to help me convince him to take this Floyd Mayweather deal? What we got? Who's out there? Mr. PBC, look, your dreams come true. Talk to me. Oh, well, actually, James Payne Lethal, you raised your hand. Let's go.
Mr. Bill Haney. Ness, can y'all hear me?
We hear you.
Well, first
Yes,
off,
sir.
I don't even want to ask you a question, Mr. Haney. I just want to say thank you again for working and your son working with our boxing promotion, TriStar Boxing, and Southpaw Promotions for sending them out there, and he's showing up to support his fighters that were on that card. I think y'all are doing phenomenal things, not just with Devin's career, but just in business and how active you are with social media and these boxing platforms on YouTube, all of the support that you give the Boxing Voice. So I just want to say, like, I watch what you're doing. I admire your path and your dedication and being a stand-up black father as well. It's a true inspiration to me. So I just want to say thank you, sir, and please keep up the good work, and I'll continue to watch and support.
Thank you, King. Appreciate it.
All right. We got Mr. PBC. Are you available?
Yeah, what's good? What's up, Bill Haney?
Hey,
what's good with you? So what do you think about you came out the mud and with the zone and stuff. What do you think about come over PBC and stuff? And taking that route. I mean, Bud thinking about it. Everybody's thinking about it.
Oh, in terms of PBC
Yeah,
and Adam,
yeah.
Yeah.
PBC is a hell of a brand. Al Heyman is amazing. Amazing executive. Behind the scenes. You know what I mean? And, we could never rule out anything, right? We are.
Well, yeah. I mean, it seems like you're more about the times and pro blackness. I mean, why not join something that's
Pro
blackish?
blackness. Yo. So he got to sign with Heyman because he black.
Wasn't asking you, Mr.
Oh,
Gibbs.
my bad. That was for you, Bill.
No, I
All
was just
right.
saying. I think it'll be dope if he went to PBC. He'll get what he needs, and if he's not much of a talker, PBC's pretty good with that with Earl Spence.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. PBC, for not showing your bias there. We got JT, New Orleans. You got something for Bill?
I got something.
What's up, brother?
Can you hear me?
We hear you.
Hey, Bill.
You
No
broke.
bias. No bias.
You breaking up. You breaking up.
Can you
Stop
hear me?
moving. If you're driving, you might need to pull over for a bit, brother.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, Bill. There's no bias. What is a bigger fight to you? Got all the bullshit to the side. Errol Spence versus Bud Crawford. Devin Haney versus Devontae Davis. What is a big?
What's the bigger
And I got
fight?
another.
What's the bigger fight?
Yeah, I'm asking Bill.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
I just want to make sure because you're still breaking up, so we just want to make sure we heard it right. So he's asking, what's the bigger fight? Devin Haney versus Gervonta Tank Davis, or Earl Spence versus Terrence Bud Crawford?
I would have to say Earl and Bud being 1A, and then Devin and Tank being 1B. I think Earl and Terrence is kind of losing a little bit of its luster, but it's still at the apex of anticipation right now.
All right, let me see. We going to Juan in the BX. Juan in the BX. What's up? Uh-oh, he dropped off. All right. We got K Boxing in the DC area. Are you available, K Boxing?
Hey, what's going on, champion?
What's up? You got something for Bill Haney, or you just want your call?
You know what? Me and Bill Haney ain't gonna be on the same page. So I'm gonna let Bill Haney ride because I get a little deep when it comes to Haney. So I'm gonna stick to that earlier topic at Haney.
Bill want all the smoke, man. What you must not have met
I know
Bill.
Bill want all the smoke, man, but I wanna give Bill his respect, man, because
Well, you ain't gotta
everything
be
that's going on in that circle, I want it to come out in the wash. You know how they say what don't come out in the wash will come out in the rinse? Yeah. I want to let that come out in the rinse.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
What is it that you speak of, though? You got us you taking us down this rabbit hole. What are you talking about?
See, if I just came right out and told him, I honestly believe Tank was smoke Devin. I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah, that would be my popular opinion.
Okay,
you
but
know
that
what I mean? But at the
ain't
same
disrespectful.
time, I want to give Devin and Bill their respect. I'm not kidding you. I got all the respect in the world for them guys and what they've accomplished to this day. It's just that, and believe me, I don't really have a horse in that race. You
are from DC, though. That's like Tank area. You from DC,
right,
that's
right.
Tank area, so you might favor him.
Well, I'm not going to say that either. You know what I mean? My fighter, to be perfect, you already know, in case you haven't picked up on it, my fighter is Lions only. Anything that got something to do with Lions only. If you notice, I say region just because Regis is associated with them guys, I'm down with anything that's lines on it. You know what I'm saying? So that's my claim. But at the same time, yeah, I respect Hurd and the guys in our media circle in our area, as well. But the Tank, I call a spade a spade, and it's just that what I've seen of these fighters to this day, you know, I just feel like Devin's not going to be able to take what Tank has to deliver. That's all.
All
But
right.
see, I know that
Can I ask you a
circle,
question,
and I
sir?
know how Floyd feels about both of those fighters, and I don't think anything is going to develop with either one of them until later on along the line when they both maybe about 30-0, and they just decide to maximize the dollar sign. That's it.
All right.
Can I
Well,
ask you a question, sir?
Oh, you want a question? Okay.
I understand.
Go ahead,
I
Steve.
understand because Tank is a hell of a talent, extraordinary boxer, dangerous and everything. Who gives Tank the best opposition in the lightweight if it's not Devin Haney? Who else gives him the fight that the fans want to see him in?
I mean,
I'm just asking.
is that the same as like who gives him the best fight?
The best fight, yes.
The best fight. Okay. So
Outside of
I'm
Devin,
going to say this.
who
I'm
is the
going to be
other person?
perfectly honest. As
Uh-huh.
long as as long as Devin doesn't make a single solitary attempt to stand in front of Tank, I think Devin can survive 12 rounds and maybe even outscore Tank. But the moment he makes that crucial mistake of trying to go inside and he get caught, I just gotta feel like, and I don't want to see that for Devin. You know what I
Okay,
mean? I really don't. I
but
really like Devin.
K. But the question is, who gives the better fight? Not named Devin.
The better actual fight right now, which would be a fan-friendly fight, I would have to say would probably be T.O., not just because of their history, but see, something that Bill knows as well as what I gathered from watching their sparring together in the past, and Bill very well knows this, believe me, that truthfully speaking, I think Tank can still push T.O. around. I really do. And yeah, T.O. does have enough power. The question will be is, can Tank take T.O.'s power? You see what I'm saying? Because once Tank really tastes his power today, I think it will be lights out for T.O. as well. You know what I'm saying?
Damn. Okay, well, K, man, I'm going to get to some other callers. Thank you for calling in. We going out to the BX. Juan, what up? Juan in the BX.
Yo, what's good?
What's up? What's up?
You can hear me?
Live with Bill.
Yo, Bill, what's good, bro?
What's good, bro?
Yo, yeah, Ness, I know you don't got my intro, so I'm gonna have to say, finally, the most electrifying fighter on TV is back. Hey, yo, Bill, do you think that Haney will whoop Tank's ass? If you do, give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Now, do you think he could whoop Teofimo Lopez's ass? Give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Now, one last one. Do you think Teofimo Lopez dropped out because he knew he was about to get his ass whooped by, I forgot homeboy's name. Give me a hell yeah.
Cambosos?
Cambosa.
No.
Cambosa's
Hell
from...
no.
All right.
Hell no.
Well, I think that he quick knew that something was going to happen. I don't know what was going to happen, but I think that he wants to make that Lomachenko fight lose his belt real quick because we all know Lomachenko was catching up in that 7th round, the 8th, when we saw what he did to Nakatuni, the Looney Tune guy. After Nakatuni knocked out, what's his name, Verdejo, and then Verdejo had to go back to Puerto Rico, start all over and shit. But yeah, I think personally, even though Haney got rocked by my man, fucking
Linares.
Fast Hands, whatever his name is, Linares. Yeah, that guy. He's back on Instagram posting videos of doing some shit. Him.
He back in October already. How the fuck the dude you beat is back? He got a date, man. Yo, listen, Bill, it's time.
Who's he fighting? That's who he's fighting?
Who does he got a date with now?
He ain't announced, but he said he back in October. He said it. It's on his Instagram.
Yeah, I saw that too.
And he ain't in the position
Yeah,
to
I
be
saw
lying.
that.
You know what I'm saying? So he back. He back.
Nah, I don't think he got a big fight
Yo,
though.
you
Ness. I
think
think
you
he got
think Devin? You
tune-up
think?
fight.
All right, Juan. Thanks for calling in. Yo, you think you don't think Mayweather would actually fight Linares Tank in October?
No. Hell no.
Huh. I wonder. Rick in San Antonio, what up? Rick?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Can you hear me?
We can.
Hey, how's it going, man? Hey, what's up, Bill? So, my thing is this, and Tank's got the potential. We've all seen it. We know what he can do. He's exciting. But he hasn't really fought a top 5 from 135 and 140. So there's no real gauge for me personally. I seen what Devin did with Linares. We know he can box and he's got the ring IQ. I could see him doing that to Tank. Unless Tank catches him with that power. But ring IQ, when it comes long distance, I could see him taking it 12 rounds and getting that decision unanimously. That's my opinion.
All right, brother. Thank you for calling in. Maybe that's what's stopping the fight from happening, man. I thought that they would see more confidence in a older Linares being able to do that, you know, and the fact that Devin showed I'm not just gonna be a boxer from the outside. He gave Linares opportunity, so you know.
Barrios couldn't beat Linares. They've sparred with Barrios before. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it was easy work. It was easy. So we knew that Barrios didn't have great guy, but we knew he didn't have too much of a chance with Tank. You know what I'm saying? And I feel that Barrios, if Barrios was to fight Linares, he would come up short against Linares as well. You know, if that was the test, which me and Ness talked about a test a lot. You know what I mean? The Devin needs that right test, and it wasn't a matter of what he would win, whether he would win a title or whether he would win. It was just the right kind of fighter to give him that test that he needed. And Devin passed the test with flying colors, so we became available to anyone, right? We became available to anyone and wanting to make the fights happen that the people want to see, right? And that's just the way that part of it went.
Bill, I mean, we got to, you know what? Because I put out the post, so there's definitely some people here that have sent some questions, but I got to ask, like, no frustration that your son is a free agent, WBC champion, and no offers.
He's 22 years old. You know, it has to be the right offer. And out of respect from the other companies and networks, it just has to be the right situation. You know, and that's just the way that I look at it.
Sam in the UK says, "Hey Bill, if Haney was in the exact same position as Tio, would he vacate and fight Loma or go to fight in Australia and defend that IBF belt?"
We would stand on what we said, in the sense of that Tio said that the reason why he wasn't fighting Devin was because he was going to Australia in the first place. And he said how many fans, it was going to be a sold out, it was going to be a sold out stadium. It was going to be his opportunity to fight in front of fans that weren't accustomed to seeing him, that he was going to become a big star from that. And we was honored that what we set out to do. If that's what we said we were going to make happen, then we would have stood on it.
All right.
Did he not say that, Ness? Did Tio not say that's why he was going to Australia at first?
Because what? What was his excuse?
Because he wanted to go in front of all those fans, the stadium full of fans of Australians that was going to buy the fight.
I mean, if he said it, I would go to Australia. I'm telling Jamel to go to Australia. I'm telling Danny go to Australia. Go ahead, get that Tim Zoo money out there. Why not? You know what I'm saying? You are a world champion. That is a world title, not a USA title. Like, go and get that money if it's out there. Why not? We going to Mookie B. Mookie B in Florida. What up?
What's happening, man? How you feeling?
I'm
I ain't
good.
called in so long.
You
What's up, Bill?
What's up with you, bro?
Chilling, man. I came down to that Devin fight, man. That was a great fight. I love that stuff, man. I met. Oh, what was it? She said she was somebody that I can't remember. I don't want to say. Maybe he said auntie. I don't know. But it was a great fight. But the reason why I'm calling in because Ness, man. I think you right, man. I think Floyd. You know how Floyd do his stuff. So he trying to find somebody that speaks Spanish. I know he Argent. I think Linares from Argentina.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
man.
no.
That's
Any Venezuelan.
You know, Venezuela, but still, he talking Spanish.
Yeah,
so
he
you know
talking
that's
Spanish.
Floyd's his green print. That's his green print. That might be the move, man, because he
And
say
it's a
October.
common opponent with Devin. He gonna set a
And it's a common
storyline.
opponent.
He gonna set that
You
Devin
know,
Haney
it's all being.
storyline.
You know what I'm saying? Bill, he coming. Y'all gonna get him though. I'm a tank guy, but I think I always like the boxer before I like the brawler. So I'm with you, Bill. I'm with you, and you come on to the show, so you know I'm with you. So that's all I gotta say, man. You guys take it easy. Peace, yo.
All right.
Peace.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Bill, you said no, right? But like, what is the difference between Tank fighting Linares next and Devin fighting Gamboa after Tank? Like,
Well, the thing was that, Tank being the superstar that he is, that I've agreed with you. I've not agreed that he's not the star, that he's not the front runner, he's not the cash cow. But at the same time, when you talk about Tank being 26 or 27?
Let me check.
He's 26, 27.
I think he is 26. I think we just checked that when we were comparing him to Haney, who's 22. It says Tank is... Shit, really gonna have to go to box? I thought Wiki had that. 26.
Yes, 26. So when you talk about the age difference and you talk about Devin is just getting started, right? I wouldn't see an opponent that Gervonta would pick that's in common with Devin, right? He would then be able to fight Devin. We picked Gamboa because, right, we wanted to show that what a fight it would make between them. If he picks Linares, so be it. We don't have any problem with that. But when you talk about going into a fight and you're saying that you're worrying about that one shot, right? You're worrying about that one shot. This is the boxing business, and at this level, right, you're with whoever that you're in there, you're gonna worry about that one shot, right? Devin has always been a smaller guy against the 147 pounders, 54 pounders, right? He's mixed it up, and him being the smaller guy, right, and worrying about that one shot. Tank comes to the table with that one shot power, and it's just something that you always worry about. But if he's being put in the biggest fight of his life, and we worry about one shot, so be it. We know that the skills pay the bills.
Your boy got some swag, man. Looking at his Instagram, that Louis Vuitton leather coat is beautiful. I mean, I'm assuming that's a jacket, but damn, that thing look good. This is what I'm saying. This would be the bigger fight. It's two dudes with so much swag, like same kind of audience. I need this fight, man, but I don't think it's gonna happen from the outside. Yo, how'd you feel when he got your face on his leg?
That was one of those days, and he put a picture of the day that it was one of those days that it was one of the hardest working days, for my family. You know what I'm saying? So I remember that day because we were doing something with the fight. It was like, I think he was it was like fight photos or something like that. I hadn't had a haircut or nothing. I was just totally zoned in. You know what I mean? And it's just major, man. It's just major. For him to do that for me, as a son, he's everything to me, man.
So you didn't know until it happened?
No, until after. No,
Wow.
I didn't. That's why I said he's everything to me, man. He's really special, man.
We got Line 6 Reed who says, Bill, nothing but love for you and Devin. I mean, no disrespect. Uh-oh. In fact, Devin is my 15-year-old son's favorite boxer. He's always says he wants his jab like Devin's. That's it. Okay. What the hell did he meant by I meant no disrespect then? No clue. All right.
I think we're in a great position though, Ness. I mean, we're in a great position. Devin is in the gym, and we've always maintained this: is if you don't get him now, it's only going to get worse. You know what I mean, for the opponent, because Devin is getting better. His trajectory is going up. He's not at his peak, right? So.
All right. We got Stone Bone in Colorado.
What up? How you doing, Mr. Haney?
Yes, sir, brother.
Oh man, bless. Listen, your posture is the exact posture of a guy and a young fighter that know what they're doing and what they're trying to achieve. Ness wants you to be a little more thirsty. He wants you to run around asking for deals. How about this? How about Devin keep doing what he's been doing? If $3 million is over at the zone, do that. Don't be going and running off trying to get, I'll give you $1 million and I'll give you a pay-per-view fight and hopefully you can make the rest on the back end. No, give me what I'm making now and we can talk. If not, bring up the mandatories, beat whoever that dude is who want to step up and take the fight. And thank you for explaining to fans and even some of these YouTube media guys how the boxing sanctions move to the next guy. It's like, do you want the fight? We telling them you want the fight. If you don't want the fight, we go to the next guy. They act like you're supposed to stay a mandatory for 12 months while they trying to get you to fight. And you basically saying, I don't want the fight. We saw Ryan duck it. We saw Javier. Hope he ducked y'all to try to take the fight, and the fight fell apart 2 different times when he should have just fought y'all. Then he fought and lost. Man, God don't like ugly, man. Get in there and fight. So, Devin, maintain your posture, and that's working. You look the part, you'll be the part. And Mr. Haney, you in the right position. You're the perfect example for your son to look up to. He living his best life. Y'all don't need Floyd Mayweather. Y'all don't need nobody. He got you. Y'all got y'all. And y'all got a team that can understand what the next move is. If Floyd gonna give you Tank, then maybe dance for Floyd. But if he's just trying to get you to come over there and stand around and fight Rollies and all these dudes with vowels in their last name, don't play that game. You can do what you're doing in a position and be basically the biggest black star on the zone. That's not even arguable. Like Danny Jacobs and none of them guys, Kevin Formers, they're not a Devin Haney. They don't look, when you see Devin Haney, you be like, I don't know what that dude do or who, even if they don't know he's a fighter, they know whatever he do, he's great at it, he's successful at it. So that's all. I ain't have no questions. I just want to give y'all the praise. And don't listen to Ness and go hollering and chasing deals. The money, y'all making the money. Tell them if they ain't got the money in these $30, $40 million bags, just keep making your $3, $4, $5 million to fight and do what y'all do, man. Bless. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
I mean, I don't know if he knows, but like y'all a free agent right now, so it's like anybody can pay for the next fight. Whoever wants it. Like there's no really true alliance left at the zone until they say, "Hey, we want that Joseph Diaz fight," right? Like you're still a free agent until some news breaks that you're with a network. So if he was with the zone, I wouldn't be recommending fighters on other networks. You understand? He's a free agent for a reason, to make all fights. So, if Canelo could sign a 2-fight deal with Matchroom for Yeardom and Billy Joe, I mean, I don't see what's wrong with a Gary Russell and Rolando Romero 2-fight deal if the money's right, like you said. We got Austin in Texas. Dallas, what up? Austin,
what's up, Ned?
how are you?
Good. How you doing today, Mr. Haney?
You heard him?
Hello?
He can't hear you. Can you speak into the mic?
Sure. Let me see. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
All right, I'm gonna come right back to you. You available or what?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You hear him, Bill? No?
I can hear him.
Go for it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. First things first, Mr. Haney. I just want to say congratulations, father to father. I know I'm a much younger father than you, but just to see his son become what he's become and how big of an impact he's had in his life. Usually, in this type of dynamic, fathers and sons they have to go their own separate ways when a young man wants to become a man. And I just salute to you, knowing when to back off and just let him become his own man. It's really a beautiful thing to see, and I just pray and hope that one day I can have the same relationship with both of my sons. But as far as a boxing question, I just wanted to ask. It's just one question. Do you think Cambrosas has a real chance to beat Tio if they do fight come October? Thank you again, sir, and that's my call.
Oh, I definitely think he has a chance. He has a chance, of course, with everything that's going on in Tio's life right now. You know what I mean? Now would be the time for Cambosos to step up and catch him going through a certain amount of turmoil in the sense of him not being connected as he should to the fight. But Tio, it was questions about whether or not Tio was mentally connected to the fight with Loma, and he came out and beat him as well. So, of course, I'm out of respect for boxing and respect for the Cambosos team, I'm going to give him a chance, but I still give it as a slim chance.
All right, and before we wrap up, I got line 6 Reed.
Hey, what's up, Bill? Hey, I just want to tell you the reason why your son's not getting no fights is just because he's just that nice. He beats Tank, he beats Ryan, he beats Teal. That's why those dudes don't want to see him. As far as my other call, when I mentioned Boots, I'm not taking anything away from Haney. I think he's an amazing fighter. In my opinion, he's a Mayweather clone. But then when we talk about Boots, Boots is a hybrid of Mayweather, Roy Jones, and Sweet Pea. So that's the only thing I was saying. I wasn't taking nothing away from your son. I was just saying he's not no Boots. That's my call.
No, Boots and his dad, Boza, man, I'm big fans of them and what they're doing. You know what I mean? Boots is an amazing talent. You know what I mean? He's a big welterweight as well too. He's not a small welterweight. You know what I mean? So when you say Boots Devin is not a Boots, and then in retrospect, I don't believe that Boots is a Devin as well. So they're two fighters that have their own identity, and I'm a big fan of Boots and what Boots will be bringing to the table as well.
We got Ruin of 504 New Orleans says, has your opinion on the business of boxing changed in any way?
No, I knew that going into it that it's a tough business. It's a tough business for anyone, even when you're aligned with one of the big promoters, one of the big three or big four. But it's something that we feel that we had to do, for the next father and son, duo that's coming behind. And I'm sure that they're going to take it farther than we've taken it, right? That they'll do better than we've done it. You know what I mean? But somebody had to do it. Somebody had to stand up to the machine, and someone had to, had to stick together, man. You know what I'm saying? Because traditionally, parents they support their kids, they support their fighters, nephews, nieces, or whatever. And then when it comes time for them to turn pro, they have to move to the side because the machine or the powers that be says that that's the way things have been going. We didn't feel that it was a need to do that. So we did it in a way that we believed that it's good for the culture.
Bill, this next one's gonna. I don't know. I want to see how you take it. Brandon in Houston says, "Bill, what do you think about Devin moving up to 175?"
To 175. I mean, Devin is Superman. If anybody can do it, he could. But 75.
You don't ever see him in his career going to 75.
No, no. 160 will be the highest. I mean, that I see. But a smart fighter, a veteran fighter is a different. It's a different.
Yeah.
Him being young right now, you know what I'm saying? I don't see it. I don't see it. 75.
You know who started at 140 and moved up to 75, right?
Andre Ward? No. Andre Ward didn't start at 40. Who?
Canelo.
Oh, Canelo.
And I used Devin as an example because people are like, oh, that's not fair. Canelo started his career at 15, so that's why he's able to move up to 75 and beat Kovalev. People don't want to see that that's special. Devin started his career at 17 at 132. What weight did he fight Ryan 3 times? Please tell the people.
132 or 132?
Okay.
125 or 132.
All right. So
I think they fought at 125, 132, something like that.
So he's been holding 132 for how many years? Tell the people.
4 years.
22-year-old man now. He was a child when he was at 132, right?
Absolutely.
And he's a man now at 132. It's discipline. It's discipline.
Yeah,
People don't understand that. How long you think he could hold this weight?
Another fight or two. If not, I mean, we could move up to 140, right? We could move up right now to 140 and be competitive, right? But the thing about it is at 135, with it being a stacked division of talent, right? We just wanted our name to get pulled, right? In terms of making one of these big fights.
Yup. Let me see what we got for you. James Valdez says Teofimo versus Loma 2. Who wins and how?
I gotta go with Teofimo once again. And I think that if it was a reason why Loma started off the way that he started off, right? Out of respect for Tio. So I just don't think Loma has an outside game. I think he works the angles, work to get on the inside, right? And I think that's part of his game. I don't think he has an outside boxing game. So I think Teofimo beats him again.
Okay.
Like we thought that he would beat him the first time.
Yeah.
Ryan, what about you?
Yeah, I would pick him again. I just think a natural 135-pounders with a little bit of skill is always going to beat him. Like, I thought Devin was going to beat him. Then Tio is he's obviously looking like a bigger puncher, so I thought he was going to. I picked them both, but I'm also a notorious Loma hater. I mean, I picked the Jamaican, I picked Salido, and I picked Russell. Russell let me down. He should have won that fight. He let me down. Then he put things in my head. He put things in my head because now he says, he's been saying that he had gotten the sauna a couple days before trying to make the weight. So, I always give him that benefit of the doubt because, I understand fighters got to make weight. We seen Terrence Crawford on 24/7, like, in a sauna with a whole sweatsuit, towels wrapped around. My man was looking like a mummy in a coffin with all the shit he had on him trying to make weight. So I never put it past what these fighters do to make that weight. And I gave Gary a pass for that loss. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I give, this person Lomachenko all the credit in the world, but I couldn't take that out of my head. I couldn't take it out of my head. You know, he personally said that in an interview to me too. So it's not like, I'm not saying he hasn't told the rest of the world. I'm just saying I interviewed him and he went there and I'm like, I believe you. I believe you. Did you believe him or you think he just got his ass kicked?
I thought he fought a bad fight. You know, when I look back at it, right? I just think that he wasn't as aggressive as he probably should have been with Loma. But I think if they fought again, I think Loma would win.
Yeah. Damn, you think Loma beats him twice? Wait, that shit just registered. So you think Loma beats Gary again? Yeah, I mean, you know,
it would be a good fight. It would be a good fight. It would be a good fight, but I give Loma the edge. Wow.
That's good. I mean, that's good because you know Loma's your number one. You don't want to be saying Gary beats him. Then you might as well get that fight with Gary, like Ness is suggesting. So I get it.
No, they're all listen at this level, right? All these guys, you don't hear me saying anything bad about them. You know what I mean? When I go into it, I look at it from a style point of view, and I look at Devin's style as being a style that is competitive against all of the fighters, just because of Devin's style, right? I think that Devin has better feet, better jab than all of them, right? Even down to Loma. I think that Devin has better feet than Loma, right? Loma has a lot of lateral movement, but in terms of fighting off the back foot, going forward, side to side, Devin does it all, right? You know, so from a style point of view, that's where we tend to, you know, differ with others. I don't just go just because this fighter, you know, have a relationship with this fighter, I have a relationship with that fighter. You know, I think that style and skills, I think Devin and Shakur Stevens have the best skills in boxing, right? That's what I believe.
Yeah, man. I mean, I would love that fight too. They don't even talk Tank and Shakur or you guys and Shakur. Obviously, Shakur is a weight below, but those are the fights I'm looking forward to in the future. Hopefully, they'll be able to get made. Let me see.
They don't talk about Shakur. They don't talk about Shakur a lot. You know what I mean? And I rate him extremely high.
Yeah, I mean he's over there in that top ranked prison though, man. You know, I gotta just be honest. I love him. He's from my home city, but they're doing a terrible job with him. Terrible. You know, they didn't give him Oscar. They made him fight they let Oscar move up, Valdez, you know, then they let him fight for the vacant. And then they didn't even solidify or secure the fucking Warrington fight. He was willing to go to Leeds. They dropped the ball on that. Warrington signs the Matchroom, leaves Warren. And I mean, he's fighting like not even Nakatani. Who is it? This Nakatilia. Like, bro, come on, man. They killing my boy. They destroying him. They're destroying him. They're not giving him anything. Like, they didn't give him Burchell. You know, it's crazy. Have they announced Herring? Because I did hear a rumor that it was not a rumor. I seen something Bob saying they're gonna put it in Atlanta, and I don't even know.
That'll be. I'm pulling for that. I'm hoping that he gets that Herring fight because you know that.
Yeah, but that's bullshit though. It's bullshit. It's like we ain't gonna give you the Mexican that we know's gonna make you more fucking popular. The recipe has been there in boxing for the last 20 years. We're not gonna give you Burchell or Valdez. We're going to give them to each other and let you guys fight each other. That should have been a 4-way tournament. Each man gets a Mexican and the winners meet each other, bro. I don't even know why people sign a top rank. It's crazy.
And Shakur, in my opinion, beats all of them. You know what I mean? He beats all of them. Like I said, I rate him up there high.
Yeah, and he needs a little more love over there. That's all I'm saying. Unfortunate. I'd love to see him in all those fights. Those are all great fights for him.
And that's what I think the apprehensiveness and the reluctantness is that African American fighters go to top rank and are given those opportunities. You know what I mean? That's just what makes fighters reluctant to sign over there. Not to say that, and every case is different. You know what I mean? You want to go into it and saying, okay, well, a Devin would work well, right? But as history has it, you know what I mean? It's not working out well for Shakur, and it's not working out as well for Bud, which
And
makes,
I pray they don't drop the ball with Jared. I pray that Jared, right, because he's a heavyweight, escapes their, virtual fucking prison. Because that's what it is, man. These fighters go over there and they ain't getting what they want. They just not. People
I spoke
can lie.
I spoke to Bob one time about that, and Bob told me, he said that in a meeting we had, he said that he's just not 100% sure or confident on how to promote a black fighter, right? And he said the reason is because traditionally you do all the ancillary things when promoting a Mexican fighter, and you get a big crowd. You get everything. You get Mexican fan base who supports Mexican fighters.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get a black fighter, some will come out sometimes to support, sometimes they don't. It's just, does this fighter, and this is me talking, does this fighter have the swag that attracts our culture?
Mm-hmm.
Why doesn't this fighter have the swag to attract? It's a difference that he doesn't necessarily understand.
Yes. But he needs to hire new blood. He can hire new blood. He can hire some people from the culture. He can, listen, HBO hired Tom Hauser as a consultant. He was a writer. Obviously, he was a white guy, that's not from the culture, but he is the reason Gennady was so prominent on that network. His article with about 20 other writers about this mythical fucking middleweight tournament, having this unknown Kazakhstanian as the winner, when at the time there were guys like Sergio and Cotto and all these great names, Daniel Gill, two-time IBF champ, so many great names. Anthony Mundine was there, fucking Martin Murray was there, all in their prime. And this unknown Gennady guy, every single writer was saying he was next up. So DAZN, HBO or Showtime rather, they all need to do that. Like Espinoza at one point probably was in the know when he was with, Golden Boy as their lawyer. And now he's a big wig and he's not really in tune. I don't think he's in tune. Like, can't he see that the Charlos are only doing 300,000? How the fuck you got all the belts and you don't crack 600? You got all the belts on the line and you don't crack 600.
So was it 300,000? It was just viewers, not pay-per-view,
I'll give you the facts because I got the tweet right here. Pulling it up. Charlo Castano averaged 422,000 viewers and peaked at 536,000. It was Showtime's most watched fight since Tank Davis Gamboa almost 19 months ago. And that peaked at 604,000 and averaged 577. Now, again, this is why Tank is a star. He fighting a dude that was considered old and washed up and did better numbers than a fighter 5 divisions above him probably, and with every single belt. Like, Showtime needs new blood over there. Something is wrong. Their numbers have been low for a long time. All Charlo, the bigger brother, he's always at 300. He's always, fucking AJ was doing 300 on Showtime at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's just, something is wrong. They need new blood. These matchups gotta get sexier. And, the truth is, some of these are good fights and the lack of, Tank got more promotion. You tell me as the outside looking in, you're on social media every single day. Tell me, what did you feel more? Did you feel the Tank Barrios or did you feel Jermell Charlo versus Brian Castano for Undisputed? No.
Definitely Tank Barrios for sure.
Exactly. Meanwhile, and this is what I mean by new blood, right? You bring a guy like myself in, and I'm not selling myself, it's just the fucking truth. Why aren't they familiarizing the American public with bigger known Argentine punchers. Why aren't they trying to sensationalize us by saying this guy is like the guy fucking Mayweather fought, Marcos Maidana? Why not call Maidana and do some sort of fucking Skype interview with Maidana and Castano and introduce, some more American boxing fans who love Maidana to this new Argentinian punching machine? Like, they don't think, man. They're not innovative. These dudes fucking suck, bro. I'm just keeping it real. They do.
Well,
like, it's very easy
to
get Sergio Martinez on a Zoom with Brian Castano. It's that simple. It's not hard to introduce Castano to already Argentine boxing fans or fans of this Argentine superstar, right? Like, he was a former star. He was on HBO doing $1 million every time he could. Sergio Martinez, Marcos Maidana. These are people that are accessible to Heyman boxing. It wouldn't be hard, but they make it seem so hard to promote these poor fighters. It's ridiculous, man. They don't love the sport, I'm telling you. But go ahead. I cut you off.
Well, no, I have to. I understand what you're saying, but also by us being in the same division with a fighter that they are successfully promoting and doing a wonderful job with Tank Davis, I have to disagree. I think that Showtime is showing that they're still one of the premier broadcasters in boxing by the job that they're doing with Tank Davis, because we can actually feel it. We can actually see what a great job they're doing with the opponents that they're doing. They don't have any great opponents that they've given Tank Davis. Tank Davis hasn't been in a unification fight or anything like that. You know what I mean? He hasn't fought against an exceptional black fighter, right? It's pretty much been Latino fighters that come to fight, that are right there in front of him to do the things that he's done. You know what I mean? And
they still dropping the ball, Bill. They're still dropping the ball. They can be successful and safe. And
absolutely.
Because they dropped the ball with Tevin. Tevin would have cracked over 200 with them. Tevin would, and it was safe. He's not a puncher. Tevin would have cracked over 200, man. My man's doing 200, 215. Like, you did 200 with Leo Santa Cruz. Something was wrong there. You understand? Because then you turned around and did 215 with Barrios. So there is momentum, and there's an upward trajectory, but there are instances where they dropped the ball. Like, Tevin was they built that up themselves. They had all the social media clips to just make that into something bigger than what it was. It was, and like you said, he hasn't fought the slick black fighter. You tick that box. You check it now, and you're safe because he's not a puncher. They dropped that ball. People wanted that in the boxing world.
In the days now of piracy and everything like that, a 300 is a 200, right? A 500 is a 400, right? 600, 400. In the days of would it being as much piracy. Mm-hmm. And Floyd did many fights that were 300,000 buys. Many of them that were considered successful. I think the Arturo Gatti was the 300.
That was one of the first. Was the Arturo?
That was the first.
But
okay, then,
but he didn't go straight back on pay-per-view.
No.
He went through a Sean Bay Mitchell off pay-per-view fight. Only people doing that is Canelo, Tank, Earl. Consistent pay-per-view. But let me see. If we got anything for you before we let you go. Looks like... did I ever say Ryan O'Rourke? He says, since you're a free agent, have you seen Eddie putting in less work to getting you guys a big fight? Or... as you guys say, you're working together. Has his energy been the same? He ain't gonna answer that. Energy's all good, baby. Eddie doing his thing like he's always been, right, Bill?
Absolutely.
He sure is. He better be. He better be, man. Bill, you
This
still
is a
got
this is a
time?
WBC. This is a WBC situation where if Eddie was to announce that we were fighting Lee Selby, then everybody would go crazy. Everybody would be in an uproar. They would be, what about his mandatory? What about his mandatory? Right? If Eddie was to say that we were fighting,
Did you go? He got a call. Majimbe, I see you. That's why I said, Bill, you still got time? Because if you do, then I'll go to your call. You were late to the party, though, champ. Damn, I think Bill got a call. Hope it's that Eddie call, like, yo. Yeah, or is it my internet again? It better not be me. It's Bill. Tell me it's Bill. Tell me it's Bill. Yeah, it says we live. So it's definitely Bill got a call. And my Jim, if you want to come on in the meantime while we wait on Bill so that you can jump in, let me know. What up?
Yeah, you hear me?
I hear you. It looks like he got a call. It's probably one of those he can't not answer.
Yeah, these goddamn conference calls, man. They've been killing me all day. I've been jumping back on and forth, so I don't know. What I wanted to tell him though, I got the perfect fight. Chris Colbert. Chris Colbert. Devin's a free agent. New York City, Madison Square Garden. You know, Denzel comes out.
Chris is at a lower weight.
Yeah, but you know he's with Al, but he's not an Al guy. I'm sure Al wouldn't mind. I'm sure Al wouldn't mind serving him up. You know what I'm saying?
Terrible. He's an Al guy. Look at all the TV fights he's had, guys. You guys are tripping.
Okay. Listen, I'm saying I'm putting my money, everything I got on Chris. That's my guy, and I know he could beat Devin.
Whoa!
I want that fight,
bro.
I want that fight.
Devin is a whole division above him, so he's like, you know, you heard what Chris said. Chris said, I wouldn't. I'm not stupid. I'm not moving to 140. He didn't care. He said what Gervonta did was special, but he said he wouldn't do it.
Is Devin at 140?
No.
All right then.
But Devin's a
Let's
big
do
boy.
this. Yeah, it's all good, man. Skills pay the bills, and I'm telling you, he got it. He got it, man.
Wow.
My man, you know,
Bill
it's going up.
To you. Bill, you back? Nah, Bill's still frozen there. Damn it. All right, man. Hey, listen, man, I tried.
Yo, I'm telling you, tell Bill when he comes on, tell him that Madison Square Garden fight right there in New York City. You give Devin that exposure to New York. You know, he comes in with the Knick colors. You know, tries to match Chris with that New York swag. It's a great fight. It's a great fight.
All right. Thank you. Listen, I'm gonna go ahead and go to J Mac Attack. No more Bill in the building.
So you hating?
I'm that guy. What you want to bet on? Bet 100,000 on that. Let's bet $1 million. You getting that money, right? Easy. Let's bet $1 million easy. And I for the bread. When I him, y'all gonna say he was too weak on my life.
Okay, bow down, bitches. I'm about to handle business. I'ma teach you all a lesson. This'll only take a minute. Got a part and all this passion in my blood. Niggas hating just because. Think about it. Everybody love Bud. J Mac, where you at? All these niggas hating on me. Shit is whack. So efficient with it. Only check the stats. Hey, I'm out here trying to get it. Next, I only got a minute. Get ready for the Mac Attack.
Alrighty then, he jumped off. NO in the New Orleans.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you a young fella, and he comes from the Magnolia.
Whoa. What's good, you heard me?
What up?
What's the topic? I'm just coming in.
Man,
what's the topic?
This shit went everywhere, man. Just talk about whatever you want, man. We everywhere with it. We went
Oh,
everywhere.
we freestyling. All right, we freestyling then, you dig? Well, I never got a chance to really speak on a Cholo fight or whatever, man. I felt like it was a draw. If you'd have gave it to Stein, I wouldn't argue with you. I really couldn't see where you could just give it to Mel, but I think a draw. I think a draw was a good call. You know what I mean? So I want to see the rematch. And I think they're going right back into it. There shouldn't be no mandatories getting in the week. You know what I'm saying? They gotta get them dudes step aside money. There ain't no big names that's fighting. That's mandatories anyway, so they can give them like 80 grand, 80 grand, and like sit them on the side until the next fight. I want to see the rematch, man. What you think about that? And that's what I ain't here to shoot, bro.
We ain't getting the rematch no time soon. They both got mandatories. Charlo actually got 2 mandatories. A lot of shit happening.
They can't work out a deal. They can't work. I know they did a lot that make the first fight.
We had Keith Heidick on. He already told us that they had the IBF mandatory. IBF mandatory was on like 3 undercards already. So they've been stepping him aside for a minute.
Damn. Yeah. So he gotta fight 1 or 2. You gotta fight 2 of them.
He gonna have to fight somebody, and it ain't gonna be Lubin. From what I'm told, Lubin ain't getting Danny, and Danny is getting Charlo before Charlo even get the rematch. Can you believe that shit?
Wait, so Charlo gonna fight Danny before he do the rematch for Undisputed?
You know it.
Man, that's crazy, man. Yeah. That's crazy. So that's a big fight. Him and Danny is a big fight, man. So Danny gonna come in and get a shot at all 3 titles without doing nothing.
Man, that's what your name do, bro. That's what you do. You put it in.
Man,
you put it in,
on, bro. He need to fight Lubin, man.
Listen to me.
He need to fight Lubin for that shot. Bro.
Why do you think that Floyd gets these fights and Eric Morales is getting a fight and this kid Cotto got a fight now with Marquez? They names. You can't take that from them. Can't. They names.
For 3 titles, next 3 titles.
Bro,
he about to come in.
Let me tell you something. Danny is a 3-division champion. Lubin ain't a champion yet.
Why Danny don't fight Castano? Why he don't fight Castano? Then get the shot at 3 titles.
Because they want him to fight Charlo to help Charlo get to that next level. And they simultaneously giving Danny a shot at the big time. At legacy, at Puerto Rican greatness. If Danny upset Charlo, he's Puerto Rican greatness. He's up there with the Benitez's of the world and the fucking Miguel Cottos and Trinidad's of the world. That's just what it is. And if you don't, you went out on your shield and you retired. You tried. You tried to be a 4-division Puerto Rican champion. You tried. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Man, shout out to El Heyman, you dig? Shout out to El, man. El making dreams come true, you hear me? That's all I gotta say on this.
He the best in the world. You gotta give him his credit. See, when Eddie make Usyk cruiserweight champ and he getting him a shot at motherfucking Joshua, they call him the best promoter in the world. We gotta open our eyes, man. It's greatness right here. Danny wanna achieve it. He wants that. You know? Do y'all want it? Is that Brandon? Brandon, I ain't go to you on this second show.
Hey, whole nother time zone. Jumped up and back with our mind on. Can't play when you here, get your life stole. If you bring it here, then the price grow. Folks jabbing and punching the line long. I drop a pigeon, let 9 go. We slap with the fake glass and white go. This only happens in Ohio.
Yo, Ness, what's up, man? How it sound?
Like you talking through a bottle.
Damn, for real? How about now? Is it better?
Nah, you ain't.
Now, what's going on? Shit. Give me a second. How it sound now, Ness?
You straight.
Okay, man. Why you... Great. First and foremost, let me say, good interviews with Isaac and Bill, but why you insist on making a fool of yourself, man?
How?
Bro, I told your ass weeks ago, don't nobody want to see no fucking Andre Berto, and you spent 30 minutes trying to sell this man on Andre Berto for Tank. I told you nobody want to see that bullshit,
right.
man.
I want to see it.
And you going to be the only nigga in there. Hey, you going to be the only nigga in that arena wanting to see that garbage.
Me and every other Tank and Berto fan, we're going to be all up in that motherfucker.
Berto ain't got no fans. But
crazy.
Nah, man, great interview, man. Great show. As far as the topic, Yeah, I think Wilder cherry picked Fury, but I think Fury cherry picked Wilder as well. I think both them guys saw each other as a cherry pick to avoid the landlord AJ, to be honest with you, man. I think Wilder saw a name that was off, sitting on the couch for 3 years, fat, coked out his mind, and I think Fury saw a guy he thought had marginal skills, somebody he could take advantage of with his boxing ability, and neither guy really wanted to fight AJ. And hell, you could say he cherry picked him the second fight because he even admitted he was offering more money to fight AJ than he did fighting Fury. So, yeah, man, he cherry picked him and that shit backfired. That's my call, man. Take it easy, bro.
All right. JP, Long Beach. Long Beach in the house.
My brother Ness. What's happening with you, man? It's crazy, man. It's crazy how this narrative has turned around because I don't have the greatest memory in the world, but if I go back and I recollect, it was Deontay offering Fury a hand and saying, "Hey, man, get up. Let me pull you up."
Yep, it was on a Nesta Gibbs interview.
Yeah, it seemed to be out of admiration, out of love and care for the man. He seemed to be extending his hand, and it's just amazing how this has turned around, man. It's a scumbag move to say he tried to cherry pick him, and even at that time, that was a stretch. Tyson Fury was the lineal champion. Had knocked off Vladimir Klitschko, who'd been atop the division for a decade. So I don't see it being a cherry pick either way because the man got fat. He lost the weight. He took 3 fights in 6 months when he came back, Deontay being the third. But nah, man, it's disgusting. And if you're Deontay, the thing that rubs me the worst here is that it make a person who's trying to do some good out there in the world not want to do some good, not want to help people, not want to extend a hand to your comrade. So that's where I think is pretty deplorable at, and they just disgusting people for that move, man. That's my call.
All right. Let me get to my Jinbe with the boomerang.
I'm going to jump all over the place because I didn't get a chance to call in on the Earl show. But I was having this argument with my brother the other day on the whole Pac Floyd legacy thing. And, I brung up the fact that, if Pac wins, he does have a better legacy than Floyd. Because look what happened with Jermaine Taylor and Bernard Hopkins. Jermaine beat Bernard twice, but who has the better legacy? Bernard by far. And this just goes to show Pac's true greatness, where he was never afraid to fight anybody. I mean, going up and fighting two of this era's best welterweights says a lot, in my opinion. I wanted to reiterate that. That's all I got, brother. Great show. Keep doing what you do.
All right. Thank you for calling in. Boomerang status, my Jinbe. And that looks like everybody. Let me double check here on Blog Talk. Yep, definitely got the line 6 read 2 times. And that's GTO, Instagram, and Twitter. Don't forget, we are back tomorrow at 9 a.m. as well as 7 p.m. for Border Wars. Border Wars every Wednesday at 7 p.m. and Border Wars is September 18th. But big announcement. I might have to change the date because of the TV. So I'm hoping that we don't, but I might have to change the fucking date. Sorry. That's GTO, Instagram, and Twitter. Peace.